All right, let's see. Let's see if we can get this working. There we go. There we go. We got a YouTube thing up again. We got a YouTube thing up again. There we go. All right, let's see if we can get this to work properly. We switched the encoder around. We got the GPU holding double duty right now. I think my GPU should be able to handle that just fine, but we're going to see. There we go. There we go. There we go. Bring it in, people. Bring it in. God. Why couldn't this have happened yesterday? Working just fine yesterday. Oh, no. Come on now. What are we effing? Come on. What are we effing? Come on. None of you? There was no issue? Seriously, you all just F for nothing? Ugh, Christ. You people are infuriating. It cut out for a second? Yeah, because the website was switching the host, dumbass. Sorry. I don't want to get mad at you guys. Oh, God. No, are we still hosting on Twitch? No, we're still hosting on Twitch, actually. Still hosting on Twitch. No, we're still hosting on Twitch, actually. Still hosting on Twitch. No, we're still hosting on Twitch, actually. We get... Hey, you people on Twitch, have any of you seen a purple screen? Yeah, you got an echo for a second. I was opening my own thing. Have you you got a purple screen yet? No problems on Twitch yet, huh? That's nice. We can host for a little while there. Oh yeah, Xander Hall. I'm not using Restream.io anymore. We're using a plugin. Okay. Let's all stabilize for a second here, okay? Are we feeling nice and stable right now? Can we do that? Can we take a deep breath perhaps? Does everyone feel like they're capable of doing that for me? We can just take a deep breath. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Yeah, so much for the goddamn test stream. Jesus Christ. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Okay? Mods, admins, whatever. You can keep the site hosting to Twitch or YouTube. I don't care. Looks like it's working fine either way. I'm going to adjust some of the settings to make sure that we're looking fine and pretty. For example, my YouTube stream title right now is Are We Alive, which isn't indicative of the content that we'll be looking at. Let me change that. Just a moment. There we go. We now have an acceptable YouTube stream title. Okay? I apologize to everyone for the inconvenience. I have never seen that bug before. Wow. Your bitrate looks better on YouTube than it did when you started today. The bitrate is the same. The difference is now my gigantic big dick mega hog 2080 Ti graphics card is handling the encoding rather than the CPU. As I understand it, as a general rule, graphics cards tend to be better at handling this sort of thing. So, this is probably a general improvement. All right? We feeling okay? We all wiggling a little bit, you know? Feeling good? Okay. Let's make sure everything's looking peachy. Marco? Good. That's very good. It's very, very good. Very happy to see that. Really, a 2080? That's ancient? That's not ancient. Jesus. You know what? If you want me to get a new, better computer, then shut the fuck up and donate instead of complaining, okay? You are the one. If you be the change you want to see in the world, okay? You're the one with the power to make that change. I'm pretty sure the 2080 Ti is still the 5th most powerful graphics card that you can buy on the consumer market, isn't it? Hold on, let me see. Ranking graphics card. It's like 5th or 6th or something like that. It's like in that ballpark. What's up? Okay. No, that's okay. Yeah, here's the current hierarchy as I understand it. Oh, I'm up in the corner. Nice, nice. Let's move me down here. Look at that. Oh, we're using an older version of my webcam profile border. Huh. Anyway, let's see. Where's the 2080? Yeah, the 2080 Ti is right here. So it's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th. The 7th most powerful graphics card in the market right now. Do you guys want me to get the 3090 so that we can fucking duo stream and play the newest games on the... How much do these cost these days? Hold on. 3090 NVIDIA shopping. Give me that. What are we talking? $10 trillion? $18 trillion? 1,650. Okay. There's literally a buy button right there. Oh. Ah. 1,500. God damn, that's shiny looking. Look at that. Look at how shiny that is. Holy shit. Do you have the power supply for it? God no. We'll need to update everything. If we want to go that route. Oh man. Oh god. But to go from 11 gigabytes to 24 gigabytes. Oh god. Oh. That's good. That's MSRP, Vosh. Good luck getting one. Well, the nice thing about being a live streamer is that you have connections that you plebeians could never even begin to fathom, okay? You guys have to go... When you want something from, you know, computer graphics related, you go online, you're like, sir, local Best Buy, would you grace me with a portion of your current stock? And they go, haha, no. I get to go in there, I do the shake with their fucking stock guy, okay? And they take me back there to the Emporium, where you get to meet the Duke, all right? Big old fat guy in a carriage, all right? He's got everything, okay? He's got pre-builts you couldn't imagine, all right? He's got $6,000 pre-builts, no gamer lights, all right? Every single dollar put into the machine. Yeah, that's a fresh Village reference, baby. That's the clean shit. All right, there are some people complaining about the Twitch host, and I don't want to deal with your bitching all day, so let's switch back to YouTube host, huh? Think we can do that real quick? Do you think we're capable? Are we capable? Are you all going to type F? You're all going to type F. You're going to make me think that everything broke, aren't you? Yeah, you are. All right, let's do it. If you're going to do it, let's do it. Yep, 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 yep. Hate you people. There we go. They'll have their fun for a minute. But after they're done having their fun, we should be able to get ahead and actually do some goddamn live streaming. All right? Refresh, refresh. I'll make you refresh. Hurting cats with these people, I swear to God. Yeah, yeah. There we go. You don't have to refresh. I can just hit the button for you. Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. Hello, hello. There we go. All right. Imagine if F was nuked. I'm considering it. 30 minutes to start a stream. Yeah, hopefully this don't happen again. Oh, Christ. Is your internet just shit or is it your computer? This has nothing to do with either my internet or my computer. I have gigabit upload. You child, okay? Do you know how long it takes me to upload VODs to Dropbox to give to my editors? I don't even see the progress bar, okay? I just blink and it's finished. All right, you fool, you buffoon. Okay. Yeah, I need that 10 gig. Oh God, 10 gig fiber. What would I even do with 10 gig fiber? Jesus, I don't even know. Whew. All right, are we ready to actually get to it? I appreciate all of us being given the opportunity to cut loose and stretch our legs a little bit before we actually talk about politics, but tragically, this upcoming portion is actually my job. Oh, and if you enjoy the excellent top-tier tech proficiency on display in this stream, make sure to donate. If you don't, you're a piece of shit. That's not true. You're a good person no matter what. That's also not true. You're a good person if you do good things. That's also not true. Since I'm not a what is it called? Virtue ethics? Since I'm not a virtue ethicist, I don't actually believe in a good or a bad person, okay? Ugh. Look, ethics is complicated. Why is my throat out now? God damn. God fucking. Oh, God. All right. We're going to do a little breathing exercise to get you people back on point. All right? Everyone ready? Okay? Everyone take a deep breath, okay? Okay? Hypers. Just a wall of it. Just an absolute pain. All right? An invasion from the hypers dimension, okay? There we go. Breathe it in. There we go. Just hundreds and hundreds of happy little frogs, okay? Imagine we're watching a Bob Ross VHS. Just hundreds and hundreds of happy little frogs, okay? Just painting them as they go by. See? They're all happy. Very nice. Okay. All right. We all feeling a little bit better? Let me take a deep breath. Please do some politics. We're going to start with Yang in Israel. I was never particularly grabbed by Andrew Yang during the Democratic primaries because it seemed like he had a good heart, but he had kind of the libertarian tech bro, framework that prevented him from meaningfully addressing a lot of the things that he brought attention to. I do appreciate Yang for bringing real attention to universal basic income. I think that's cool. I really do. He seems like kind of a weird guy. Is it weird to say I don't think he's that presidential, He looks like he'd be a really cool, I don't know, like coworker? Is that a weird thing? I feel like if I worked with Yang, it'd be like fucking rad. You know what I mean? Like we'd be hanging out all day. It'd be a great time. But he's so chill. I don't know. One way or another. One way or another. He got himself in hot water just the other day. I want him as a boss, Vosh. Nobody bosses me around except for all of you, constantly 24/7. Anyhow, Andrew Yang got himself in a bit of a tizzy here, and wow, that is a very large donation alert. Thank you very much. That I should probably resize and take a little bit out of the way since it's kind of right up there. I'm standing with the people of Israel who are coming together under bombardment attacks and condemn the Hamas terrorists. The people of New York City will always stand with our brothers and sisters in Israel who face down terrorism and persevere. Now, this thing got ratioed right here. 31,000 quote tweets, tens of thousands of comments asking him to, reconsider just a little bit. Maybe maybe think a little bit about this. It's interesting, actually, because what Yang is doing right now completely deviates from the crowd and the attitude that he had cultivated back before, you know? Because Yang had two major, like, support groups, okay? The more libertarian leaning Democrats, and for some reason, alt-righters. Not sure how that happened, whatever. I'm not going to hold it against him here, but neither of those communities like interventionism in Israel, you know? I'm not to say that he's changing his positions on this matter. I'm sure this is something that he believes. It's just it's interesting. This deviates significantly from like the broader attitude people tend to have towards him. Anyway, he got giga ratioed for this one, and probably justly so for reasons that we're about to talk about. Andrew Yang is currently running in the New York City mayoral race. And wait, Vosh, how is he wrong on this one? We'll talk about it shortly, in my opinion. Andrew Yang is currently running in the New York City mayoral race. If I were a cynical man, and I am, I would say that it is true that Jewish people represent a pretty large block of voters in New York City, and he could be trying to appeal to a marginalized demographic in order to further his chances in that mayoral race. Because it seems like a very contentious stance to take that could potentially, it's a high risk, high reward. You could end up looking off really great. It doesn't look like that's what happened here, but I'm not saying that's why he's doing it for sure, but it definitely plays into the potential. Yeah, but plenty of Jewish people support Palestine. That's true. Yeah. I'm not saying it was a great strategy. I'm only saying it may have factored into his ideas. So, why is what he said wrong? Well, I'm standing with the people of Israel. This is fine. Standing. I like standing. People are cool. Not a huge fan of the state of Israel, but, I like people of Israel who are coming under bombardment attacks and condemn the Hamas terrorists. The people of New York City will stand with our brothers and sisters in Israel who face down terrorism and persevere. The language of this tweet pretty clearly makes it sound like Israel is under attack and is defending itself, and that Yang supports their act of defending themselves. This is an inaccurate characterization of what is currently taking place. I would like to talk about what's actually happening. Unfortunately, every time I talk about issues like this, I get accused of partisanship or bias. I get accused of leaving out this or that. So we're going to do something egregiously and obnoxiously overcompensatory today, okay? We are going to directly read a Wikipedia article. That is right, people. We are cutting right through the thick of the matter, and we're just going to look directly at the Wikipedia article. Because every time I try to synthesize or construct, everyone, you miss that, you do that. We're just going to look at the Wikipedia article. Okay? That's what we're going to do. Wait, Vosh, you can read? A secret skill that I have planned out for this exact moment. I understand a lot of you are going to find this uninteresting. You're an idiot. This is extremely important. Please pay attention. Okay? You can edit the article. If anything I'm about to say is factually inaccurate, then I encourage people to email me afterwards, and I will amend my statements in a future video. Ongoing clashes began on the 6th of May between Palestinian protesters and Israeli police over a planned decision of the Supreme Court of Israel regarding evictions of Palestinians in Sheikh Jarrah, East Jerusalem. Please do not get on my case for any mispronunciations during this stream. I will try my best. The violence, which coincided with the holiday of Laylat al-Qadir and Jerusalem Day, has injured more than 300 people, mostly Palestinian civilians. The attacks drew international condemnation and resulted in a delay of the Supreme Court ruling by 30 days as Aviachi Mandelblit, Attorney General of Israel, sought to reduce tensions. On the 9th of May, Israeli police stormed the Al-Aqsa Mosque, a major holy site to Muslims, ahead of a flag march by far-right Jewish nationalists that was later canceled. So I want to clarify this entirely, okay? Imagine if you had like an indigenous protest, or like not even a protest, if you had like an indigenous holiday that it was going to be marched upon by like the Charlottesville crowd, and before Charlottesville got there, the National Guard came in to clear out the Native Americans. Like, whew. In response, on the 10th and 11th of May, Hamas and Islamic Jihad fired over 400 rockets into Israel, hitting homes and a school, killing 2 Israeli civilians and injuring at least 70 Israeli civilians. Israel responded with airstrikes into Gaza, and according to Gaza officials, at least 24 Palestinians, including 9 children, were killed, and 103 more were wounded. According to the IDF, at least 15 of those killed were members of Hamas, and many others were killed by Palestinian rockets. So this is editorialization on my part. I don't believe the IDF for 1 nano-fucking-second, okay? So we have independent assessments saying 2 Israeli civilians were killed and that almost all the people they killed in retaliation were Hamas. And then you have the IDF saying, actually, way more Israeli citizens were killed. And actually, no. I do not believe so. Let's get some background on this. So one of the issues that I often find arises in conversations about the conflict between Israel and the Palestinian people is that Israel does something really fucking shitty, and a bunch of people criticize Israel for it, which is fine. But then people who like Israel will say, well, look at this shitty thing the Palestinians did beforehand. So to me, this is an extremely unproductive back and forth, and it makes about as much sense as people saying, look at this shitty thing a cop did. And then a conservative says, oh yeah? Well, look at the thing the black person did beforehand. That's about what it feels like to me. The problem is that whether you like it or not, Israel is responsible for the situation that both of these states are in right now, Palestine and Israel. It's not like the Palestinians chose this situation. They're not the ones who put them in the position that they're in right now. They're not the ones who control the interaction or the engagement, the discourse. They're not the one backed by the most powerful military force on the planet. Israel has all of the power. And Israel pushed the Palestinian people into a position where violence was an inevitable consequence of what's going to take place. For Christ's sake, the Palestinians live in an open-air concentration camp, okay? You seriously think there wasn't going to be violence in this situation? Only one power has the power there. Only one power has the power. Only one entity has the power to end the violence, and that is not the Palestinian people. If the Palestinian people throw up their arms, they say no more violence, not any, in 100 years, there will no longer be any Palestinian people because the Israeli genocide of their people will continue slowly, bit by bit. Their culture, their land will be gobbled up and they will be gone. If the Israeli people throw their arms up and they say, all right, we're done. We're not doing this anymore. You know what happens? A two-state solution and the continued existence of both groups. That's the reason why I'm predominantly critical of Israel. It's not because the Palestinian people don't do bad things. They do. Hamas does bad things. They fired rockets at a school filled with Israeli civilians. There's no getting around that. Hamas is not a good organization. It's not a good group. But even Hamas has said that they would support a two-state solution, something Israel is unwilling to back. Even the terrorists of the Palestinians are more amicable to compromise than the organized government elected by the Israeli people. Of course, everything I'm saying is highly, highly nuanced, way more complicated than I'm giving it justification here. But I want you all to understand, at Vosh, the Hamas would not settle for peace. And we have a lot of people with really strong opinions on the extent to which both groups are sincere in their attempts to push for peace. Hamas supported a two-state solution as a transitional state for them taking over all of Palestine, though. Israel never should have been built there, buddy. You really blame Hamas for saying they want to reclaim land that 70 years ago belonged to their people? The point is, in the immediate moment, right now, they're more amicable to that position than Israel is. That's not to say they don't do bad things. That's not to say they're not a terrorist organization. Israel is the group with the power to amend the situation, and they choose not to. Polls done amongst Israeli civilians show, and I'm being charitable here, a very harsh attitude towards the Palestinian people. Vosh, they would kill all Jews if they could. Israelis would not. I strongly disagree with your perspective, but I know that if I start arguing with Zionists in chat, we're going to go on this forever. Let's focus back on the particular situation we're looking at. You'd think with my history, Zionists wouldn't be in my community, but that's okay. Hopefully you will take the opportunity to expand your understanding of this issue. The disputed land was bought by Jewish trusts from Arab landowners in 1876. In 1956, the Jordanian government, in cooperation with the United Nations Organization for Refugees, housed 28 Palestinian refugee families with tenancy rights in a compound on land that Jordan managed as custodian of enemy property and which formerly belonged to these Jewish trusts. God, this stuff gets complicated. After the Six-Day War, the area fell under Israeli occupation. In 19, speaking of things we can complain about on behalf of Israel, Jesus. In 1972, the Israeli custodian general registered the properties under the Jewish trusts, which in turn demanded the Palestinian tenants there pay the trusts rent. Eviction orders began to occur in the 1990s. The Jewish Trust sold the homes to a right-wing settler organization who have since made repeated attempts to evict the Palestinian residents. Again, I just don't know how in any situation you can feel anything for the Palestinians here but empathy, you know? Under Israeli land and property laws, Israeli have the right to reclaim properties in East Jerusalem owned by Jews before the 1948 Arab-Israeli War, but no similar law exists that would allow Palestinians to claim their lost property inside Israel during the Nakba. The Nakba, you should probably know about this, also known as the Palestinian catastrophe, was the destruction of Palestinian society and homeland in 1948 and the permanent displacement of a majority of the Palestinian people. The foundational events of the Nakba took place during and shortly after the 1947 to 1949 Palestinian War, including 78% of the geopolitical entity then known as Palestine being declared as Israel. Can you really blame Palestinians for being a little salty? 4/5 of their country got Thanos snapped into Israel. The exodus of 700,000 Palestinians, the related depopulation and destruction of over 500 Palestinian villages, and subsequent geographic erasure, the denial of the Palestinian right of return, the creation of permanent Palestinian refuges, and the shattering of Palestinian society. Again, Israel are not the victims in the situation. This is the trail of tears, okay? People who are on Israel's side in this conflict, it's like the equivalent of like crying crocodile tears for American settlers in the 19th century after the displacement of Native Americans. Like, it's unbelievable that people would ever, under any there were Native American raids on, like, American villages, right? Like, I guess the Americans should have genocided more? Like, this is an insane logic to me. Anyway, let's not get sidetracked. The inequality of treatment of property rights that has been deemed unacceptable in international law by the Jerusalem Institute for Policy Research, and furthermore, some analysts argue that the precedent set by these measures to resume Jewish property rights in East Jerusalem would open the gate for Palestinians to claim entitlement to the restitution of their properties in West Jerusalem. Look at that. The analysts are arguing that if they allowed the Israelis the leeway they want, that it would give the Palestinians a legal precedent to start reclaiming territory in West Jerusalem. Vosh, well, okay, but are you supporting Native American separatism now because of that history? You know what, dog? If right now there was an ongoing border conflict between America and open-air concentration camps, including Native American people, I wouldn't be supporting Native American separatism. I'd be encouraging Native American reconquest of the Americas. Yeah. Oh, yeah, including your flat in whatever fucking Bay Area city you live in. Yeah, absolutely, okay? They will crawl across the United States in a wave of tanks and reclaim their ancestral territories from you and you specifically, okay? You first. I don't care where in America you live, okay? Your house is being designated the first judicially ordained reclaimed territory of the indigenous peoples of America, okay? And then they can then they can sort out the rest, okay? We will make them the colonizers. No, my positions on Native American land back issues right now are informed first and foremost by pragmatism. The issue is if you took Native American reservations and made them like independent nations right now, they would just starve. The necessary economic infrastructure hasn't been set up to afford them the ability to engage in like a emancipatory action. So that's probably not the right direction to go like there. But yeah, in the case of the Palestinian people, that was their whole country within a lifetime ago. There are people in Palestine alive today who remember back when they had the whole country and now they have their little fenced in area, you know? This is a very immediate thing currently happening. But the end goal is open borders, correct? Of course. Absolutely. All right, what were we doing? Anyway, in 2010, the Supreme Court of Israel rejected an appeal by Palestinian families who had resided in housing units in the area of Sheikh Jarrah, East Jerusalem, who had petitioned the court to have their ownership of the properties recognized. In 2021, we're catching up now, Israel's Supreme Court was expected to deliver a ruling on whether to uphold the eviction of 6 Palestinian families from the Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood of East Jerusalem on the 10th of May. Getting real close right now. Itamar Ben Gvir, this piece of shit, a far-right Israeli politician, visited Sheikh Jarrah shortly before the clashes began, where he said the houses belonged to Jews and told police to open fire on protesters. There you go. Agence France Presse reported that Israeli settlers had been seen in Sheikh Jarrah openly carrying assault rifles and revolvers, leading to the clashes. Previous clashes had begun following the Israeli government's closure of the Damascus Gate, a popular place for Muslims to gather during Ramadan, and when the Israeli government imposed a 10,000-person limit on people praying at Al-Aqsa Mosque. Palestinian protests were also frustrated with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas' decision to postpone the 2021 Palestinian legislative election, believing he had done so to avoid political defeat for his party Fatah. This is a whole other story and a whole other complicated thing, okay? Here we go. We're on it now. Palestinians and Israeli settlers first clashed on the 6th of May and were broken up by the intervention of the Israeli police, who arrested at least 7 people. Further clashes continued at Al-Aqsa Mosque. The Palestinian Red Crescent Society said 136 people were wounded across Jerusalem that evening, and the Israeli government said 6 police officers were also wounded. More clashes occurred on the 8th of May, on the date of the Islamic holy night of Laylat al-Qadr. Palestinian crowds threw stones, lit fires, and chanted, "Strike Tel Aviv," and "In spirit and blood we will redeem Al-Aqsa," which the Times of Israel described as in support of Hamas. I like how the Wikipedia article said that it was a newspaper who described it in support of Hamas, rather than saying it was something supporting Hamas. Because saying they want to redeem the mosque that they've been legally barred from attending as they previously were, I don't know if that's necessarily support of Hamas, you know? The Israeli police, wearing riot gear and some on horseback, used stun grenades and water cannons. At least 80 people were injured. On the morning of the 9th of May, we're getting into it now, Israeli forces stormed the Al-Aqsa Mosque, Islam's third holiest site, injuring hundreds. Palestinians threw rocks, firecrackers, and heavy objects. God, this, if anything, sums up the Palestinian-Israeli, military divide right here. Listen to this sentence. Palestinians threw rocks, firecrackers, and heavy objects, while Israeli police fired stun grenades, tear gas, and rubber bullets at worshippers. Okay. The storming came ahead of a Jerusalem Day flag march by Jewish nationalists through the Old City. At least 215 Palestinians were injured, 153 of whom were hospitalized. Militants in Gaza fired rockets into Israel during the night. There you go. During the evening and night of the 10th of May, riots erupted in Lod. An Arab mob threw stones and firebombs at Jewish homes in the city. This is bad. Attacked a school and a synagogue. This is bad. And set fires. This is bad. A Jewish resident shot at Arab rioters, killing 1 and wounding 2. The mob later attacked the hospital where he and others injured were evacuated to. On the 10th of May, Hamas fired more than 150 rockets into Israel from Gaza. The IDF said 7 rockets were fired toward Jerusalem and Beit Shemesh, and that 1 was intercepted. An anti-tank missile was also fired at an Israeli civilian vehicle, injuring the driver. That's not good. Israel launched airstrikes into the Gaza Strip on the 10th of May. That was yesterday. 26 Palestinians were killed, 9 of whom were children, and 103 more were wounded. A Hamas commander, identified as Mohammed Abdullah Fayyad, as well as 2 high-ranking Islamic Jihad commanders, were also killed. According to the IDF, a number of the Palestinians killed, including 3 of the children, were killed by errant rockets fired by Hamas, not by airstrikes, and that at least another 15 of those killed were members of Hamas who were launching rockets or firing anti-tank missiles at Israel. However, the victims died when the Israeli strikes were carried out. So this would take a while for me to substantiate, but over the past 2 years of looking at stuff from Israel, I think the IDF lies a lot. Like, a lot. Whenever there are conflicts between Israel and the Palestinians, they propagandize so fucking hard, so aggressively, and independent journalists are constantly catching them out in it, and nothing ever happens. On the 11th of May, Hamas and Islamic Jihad responded to the Israeli raids, launching hundreds of rockets at Ashdod and Ashkelon, killing 2 people and wounding more than 70 others. Hamas claimed they were firing their largest ever barrage, firing 137 rockets in 5 minutes. And go them for effort enacted, I guess. So what do we have to say about all of this? Okay? Well, first of all, I don't want what I say right now to be conflated as a defense for Islamic jihadists or for Hamas, because I think that those organizations are largely destructive. That being said, I also believe that there are plenty of criminal organizations in, say, American inner cities which are destructive. That does not mean that ultimately the blame does not fall upon our politicians and criminal justice system for facilitating the systems which allowed these things to emerge. At the end of the day, it is people in power who guide the lives of those around them, not the victimized. America guided the conflict between the Native Americans and us, the colonizers. Israel guides the conflict between Israel and the Palestinian people. If they truly wanted peace, there were many things that Israel could have done over the past several decades and could do today to bring about peace. But Israel does not want peace. Israel wants the systemic elimination of the Palestinian people. Whether by their death or the seizure of their land or their exile, slowly but surely, Israel would take over the machine. You know, what's it? The constantly replicating what are they? Nanobots? Yeah, like a mold or something. They're just cover it. The gray goo scenario. Just cover the whole thing. And that is unacceptable to me. What is happening to the Palestinian people is undeniably a genocide. Now, thankfully, because I'm not a fucking idiot, it is possible for me to believe that the Israeli government is committing a genocide against the Palestinian people, and also believe that Israeli citizens, the, beating heart, the living people in Israel, deserve to live comfortable and safe lives. I believe both groups do. The only entity in the world, the only entity in the universe with the power to bring about that peace is Israel. That's it. The Palestinians do not have this power. For them, acquiescence means death. A slow death, but death nonetheless. Israel has the power. And if you are truly, by the way, in favor of peace here, if you're truly in favor of some sort of amicable, both sides, we should all be happy, etc., then this should be a no-brainer to you. But unfortunately, as some people in chat have wildly demonstrated, there are people who have bought into propaganda and are now abetting, enabling, and defending genocide because of their fears of Israeli persecution. To which I must remind you, and I'm very, very sorry to have to do this, Israel is currently backed by the most powerful military force in the planet. The last time they had a major military conflict, it lasted like 2 seconds and they tripled the size of their territory, okay? Israel is not a victim here. They are the victor, and they are doing everything in their power from military force to extensive and aggressive... Hold on. We need to ban some people, I think. Extensive and aggressive elimination of the Palestinian land, culture, what have you, etc. Their behavior is unacceptable. This is a very straightforward position that I think any reasonable person should take. I don't know why there's so much contention. Can you explain to the idiots in chat that just because an official state of Palestine didn't yet exist, the people living there were forcibly expelled by a colonial state? They would never say that in my chat about Native Americans. Most of the arguments that people use to defend the Israeli treatment of Palestinians fall flat when you apply them to literally any other group of oppressed people. Can you imagine that? Honestly, you could do all of this with the Native Americans. There wasn't an official Native American state. They just lived in tribal societies. They didn't own the land. They raided colonial villages. They attacked our people, We had no choice but to move 3,000 miles westward. You can make all these arguments, same back and forth. Ridiculous. And Yang should be ashamed for what he said on Twitter, okay? Okay. Are we here? The whole Palestinians would kill Jews, but Jews won't kill Palestinians is what Nick Fuentes said about black people gaining power in the US. Oh yeah, that's totally true. White nationalists say that if black people become too powerful, they'll genocide all the white people in this country, but white people have generously patricianed the existence of black people for all of American history. That's actually the exact argument that Zionists make with it's interesting. Interesting how much the authoritarian ethno-nationalists agree on. Eh? Zionist dancing celebrating the mosque being burned wild. I'm happy that you brought this up. This is fake news. Many of you would have seen this on Twitter. I do not blame you for reacting negatively. However, this is fake news. These celebrations and this dancing, they began before this fire was lit. This has to do with a holiday. I don't know the details, but this is a... This was a... They were celebrating before that caught on fire. And what we're looking at, which is on fire, is a tree, not the mosque itself. Not that that changes anything, because you could argue they thought it was the mosque burning. But anyway, no. They were celebrating before... The video itself isn't fake, but they were dancing before any fires were lit. It's Orthodox Easter weekend in Jerusalem Day? Yeah. Now, optically, of course, it does look terrible that they're doing all of this. Right next to like the fire lighting the mosque in the distance, you know, et cetera, et cetera. But you know, it's yeah. But weren't they saying take revenge on the Palestinians or something? The group of people there, guys. I'm gonna be real with you, okay? The Israelis, I think a lot of them don't think Palestinians are human beings, okay? I've seen so much polling being done on Israeli citizens and their opinion on, like, the Palestinians. They talk... Dude, if you think, like, if you go into, like, the Deep South, or if you go into, like, Appalachia or Appalachia or whatever in America and ask, like, whites there how they feel about black people or Muslims, you will get better answers than you would get from Israelis talking about Palestinians. Americans, you have no idea how significant the depths of the racism go. It's unbelievable how fucking far down you can go. Okay? Where was that thing? There was actually Abby Martin. Wasn't it Abby Martin? She went on... Didn't Abby Martin go on Joe Rogan? That's who we're talking about, right? I think that's where I originally saw the video from. Abby Martin went on Joe Rogan and showed these videos. Then I looked at some more stuff of hers. Martin polling Israeli citizens. Can we get a second on this? Oh shit. Okay, wait, guys. I want to be really, really clear, okay? Interviewing people in the street is not a rigorous or methodologically sound way of assessing the positions of a population, okay? It is not, all right? There is other data that backs up the trends that are demonstrated here, but I think this gives you an idea.
Palestine completely. This is government
situation.
A few months to see how life...
This is the country of the Jewish people. And
Are you American?
yes.
Oh, cool. Why? When did you move here and why?
I moved here 11 years ago. My family moved here because this is the country of the Jewish people and the future of the Jewish people. And we want to be here.
How old are you guys?
18.
We're 18 years old.
Now we are here in Israel taking a leadership course, and we're going to the army for a few months to see how life's here. And then we hope to bring back some of this knowledge to our youth movements.
So you're like an internship with the army?
It's about 2 months.
Vosh, I don't think anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism, but you're being an anti-Semite right now. If you unironically think that I'm being anti-Semitic right now, then you do in fact believe that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. I cannot fathom a more level-headed take. I read from a Wikipedia article. What do you want from me? God.
And they show you everything about the army.
Israel is a great place. It's a nice place. You should come and visit.
Vosh, since when was Wikipedia a reliable source of information? Wikipedia, okay. Unironically, Wikipedia is a more reliable source of information than almost any other source of editorialization that you will find anywhere. This has been demonstrated time and time again on issues scientific and sociological. Wikipedia actually has fairly stringent editing policies, and it's a pretty decent source of information, okay?
Like I love Israel and I feel safe
You know, Abby Martin is literally a Russian propagandist, right? Yeah, Abby Martin has done a lot of cringe shit. I'm only looking at this video here.
here.
All that misconceptions are not true. Like, there's not people with knives every day, and there's not I don't know, people exploding.
Palestinians?
Yeah. No, but pretty much the life here is really good.
For people living here, it's just...
Wait, hold on. Man, I'm sorry, your indirect take for driving Israelis into the sea. When the fuck did I say drive Israelis into the sea? What is wrong with you people? Oh my god. Dude, what? Okay, what is wrong with Zionists, dude? Holy shit. You people have such a persecution. Anytime anything is, you're like, your mind will bend to construct anything. Hamas has said that? Damn, good thing that I fucking didn't support Hamas in this conversation. Holy shit. Jesus Christ. I didn't realize my chat was an IDF recruiting zone. Holy fuck.
It's normal to see people in the army walking around with guns, and you feel completely safe and protected.
I feel like we know who the threat is, and it's not coming from anyone random, as opposed to in the rest of the world that could be anyone. Here we know who our enemy is, and we know that they are out to get us.
Who is the enemy?
Who's the enemy? That's a very good question. I don't think it's specifically any nation. I think it's the people that are so interested in being politically correct that they won't actually go
This sounds like stuff I've heard before.
after the people that are trying to cover things up.
I think that the Islam is it's a very bad disease, not just for Israel, for all around the world. We can see it. They think they all have to be Islam. If you're not Islam, they will kill you.
58% of Jewish high schoolers think that Arabs shouldn't vote. Holy shit. I haven't seen this one. 59% of high school students consider themselves right-wing. Only 13% identify as left-wing. Israel is an ethno-nationalist propaganda state. This is the young people, not the old, like, conservative dude. These are the young people, the next generation of the government. Can you imagine if there was a poll from American high schools and 50% thought that Native Americans should be able to vote? You like that would be a result you would get like 150 years ago, okay? Not today.
A lot of Americans don't really understand what Israel's like. We hear a lot of things in the news. A lot of people are sympathizing with the Palestinian plight. Can you talk about what it's like to kind of live in this situation?
First of all, it's very hard.
Bosch, when you describe yourself as anti-Zionist, a lot of people see that as the advocacy for the destruction of Israel, because Zionism is usually talked about as support for the existence of Israel, not necessarily all of its actions. Then it's a good thing that I literally just talked about how I want peace and security and safety for all the people who live in that region, and the only way we can achieve that is through amicable behavior from the state of Israel. There is no way to phrase this that will not get, like, the super crazy Zionists really ass-pained at you, okay? There's no getting around that. They're always going to find some excuse, some persecution complex, some reason to freak out and get super, super mad, okay? Because they act about Israel the same way the craziest Americans act about America. These people are not driven by rationality. They're ethno-nationalists, and they want to rule atop the people who they have conquered. There's no getting around it. It's not like some complicated moral dilemma. It's really obvious what the right and wrong is here. The hard part is how to do the right thing. But in terms of what is the right thing, I feel like it's fairly straightforward. Do you support a one-state solution? Ideally, I think it would be nice if, yeah, it could be one country, jointly ruled by Palestinian and Israeli people. I think that would be cool, you know? I think that'd be at least a little bit poggers.
I'm in an organization. It's called Lahava.
Oh my god, this is fucking Zoomer.
Against the Jews shouldn't marry Arabs.
Did you say the organization did what again?
I think it's because to them the state of Israel's existence is synonymous with Zionism, and they see the project of Israeli statehood as the future of our people, like that woman said. If I say, hey, you shouldn't genocide Arabs, and their response is, I can't believe you don't want a place for Jews to live safely, that's on them, not me. Sorry, I'm not bridging that gap for them. They're gonna need to work that one out a little bit in their heads, okay?
Their organization is the thing of it is that Jews shouldn't marry Arabs
This is like a
Shouldn't marry Arabs.
12-year-old.
Why do you feel strongly about that?
because Jews is a special nation that God gave it to the Jews, and we don't want Jews to get mixed up together with a different nation.
I think Israelis have to take over, and they have to kick them away. It will be much better not to kill them, just to go back to Arab.
Aren't people that try to conflate legitimate criticism of the Israeli government with anti-Semitism kind of implying an anti-Semitic view, the conflation of Israel and Jewish people? Yes, Zionists are incredibly anti-Semitic people. Everyone in chat who got mad at me or accused me of anti-Semitism is projecting hardcore right now, because I didn't mention a single thing about Jewish people. I only talked about Israeli people. The only time I said the word Jew was when reading out loud from the Wikipedia article, like directly. I never talk about it. You know why? Because I grew up around Jewish people, and I think they're cool as shit, all right? And I think Israel is cringe, all right? I'm capable of distinguishing the two because I don't have my brain. My brain is not a bread bowl filled with soup that can only comprehend Israel as the literal physical manifestation of the will of Jewish people, okay? I'm not a fascist. I don't believe that a state is capable of representing the will of a particular ethnic group, okay? Because I'm not a fascist. Sorry, that's just not where my brain is right now. I don't actually believe that, you know, in my head. States are states. They're political constructs, okay? If a state gives a group of people safety, that's great. Not if it's causing a genocide for another group of people. This isn't hard.
Arab countries.
You can't deal with these people. There's no need to try. There's no need to talk to them. What we can do is when they do enough harm, we retaliate. That's war, and that's the situation that any Jew who lives in Israel has to deal with.
May their name and memory be obliterated.
בסדר בעברית? פשוט מאוד, צריך להיכנס לשטחים, וכל מחבל שעושה פיגוע צריך להרוג אותו, צריך להרוג את המחבלים, ואז הם יפחדו ולא יעשו לנו בעיות, והכל יהיה בסדר. הם יהיו בכפרים שלהם, אנחנו נחיה פה, לא צריך להיות ביחד, והכל בסדר.
I think also that every Arab that doing a terrorism attack, we have to kill him, and not because he's an Arab, because he's a terrorist. I think you should also kick out the family, because it all begins with chinuch. How you say it?
Education.
Whatever they teach the kids does. You know, it's families.
I'm seeing that we need to... איך אומרים להעיף את הערבים? כן, תגידי לי איזה מילה.
How do you say kick out the Arabs in it? How do you... give me the grammar on that one. I don't think we've seen enough. All right. Yeah, we get the point. All right. Damn, dog, we're banning a lot of people. I have no idea there were this many brainworms in chat. I can't believe my position that I don't believe that genocides are good is a position that is so controversial. Holy shit. It's incredible. Well, the IDF has admitted that they do pay people to go troll online forums, so yeah. That's true, right? I remember reading that, but it was years ago. That is true, right? I'm almost positive that I remember reading that. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, go get your paycheck somewhere else. Oh god. I wonder if Vosh is going to get banned from Twitch again today. So what we just did, I think, believe it or not, was a fairly pointed and sociological criticism of fascism and state genocide, okay? If we get banned for this, that is extremely anti-Semitic and anti-Palestinian on the part of Twitch. The idea conflating Israel and Jewish people is anti-Semitic, and saying that it is unacceptable to condemn a genocide of the Palestinian people is, well, it's obviously anti-Palestinian, okay? If Twitch has anything to say about that, then I will stir a storm from my YouTube channel, okay? Because this was perfectly acceptable. All right. Do we live? I'm from Israel, notice me? You're very special, thank you, hello. Goodness. Ah yes, the Jewish Internet Defense Force. Yeah, oh god. Jewish Internet Defense Force. What a name. Was an organization that used social media to mobilize support for campaigns against websites and Facebook groups that promote or praise what it described as Islamic terrorism or anti-Semitism. By the way, what this actually means is if you're anti-Israel, they'll call you an Islamic terrorist or an anti-Semite. Yeah, whatever. The funny thing, if you ever actually listen to neo-Nazis, is that they oscillate between liking and disliking Israel, like, so frequently. Because on one hand, you know, it's Israel, so it's associated with Jewish people, so they don't like that. But on the other hand, like, Israel is like an ethno-state that enacts apartheid and ruthlessly condemns the minorities. So they're like, wait, actually, we want what they're doing, you know? Yeah, they're jealous, basically. They're like, Israel, if only we could do that, you know, like that kind of thing. Yeah. J-Reg did that bit. It's true. It's true. How do we talk to Zionists then? So there are two groups of Zionists, okay? There's the big group that is disingenuous and the small group that is genuine, okay? The biggest group of Zionists are American Christian fundamentalists who want all the Jewish people to go and fuck off to the Middle East so they can die in the rapture. That's like the big chunk of it. There are also American like nationalists who just want the military-based shit going on in the Middle East, okay? And then the Zionists that are the most infuriating to argue with are the actual, like, true believers, you know? Israeli citizens or just Zionists who just genuinely, like, they're really on, like, the hype train that they need Israel to be enacting a genocide in order to defend themselves, you know? Should Kurdistan exist? Yes. After all the shit they've been through in Iraq? Yes, they should. 100%. I don't think that every ethnic group should secede, like, at all times. I don't believe that. But if you have like an area with an ethnic group that's lived there forever and it's their area and they keep getting dumped on by their larger, the state that happens to, yeah, then yeah, in that case, you know. Is it reasonable to call Israel a fascist state? Yes, yeah, 100%, 100%, yeah. Would you say black secessionism is good then? No, because black secessionism involves them going over to Africa and colonizing African territories. We've done this before. And also, I don't think that's an acceptable solution. Like, black people are very integrated into American culture. That's not to say that things are equal, but, like, black people can vote. Black people hold high positions in government, lead an organization, and, like, the military-industrial complex, the criminal justice system. And black people benefit from their interaction and engagement with America. The solution here isn't to send them to Africa. The solution here is to give them parity within America, in my opinion. Again, it's very much a, like, context thing, you know? Black Americans are Americans. If there are black people who want to move to Africa, then they can. I mean, I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying, like, as a policy, you know. Most black people have been in America longer than some white people. Yeah, oh yeah, for sure, yeah. They're more American than we are, yeah. I'm pretty sure that person meant giving the South to black people. No, no. I think I've explained why, but yeah. Oh yeah, here's the green is Palestinian land, light beige is Jewish land. Why shouldn't say Jewish land, it should say Israeli land. Anyway, we can see the is this real? Yeah, it's a map. Think a map would lie to you? Why do you think having ancestors in an area inherently entitles their descendants to own that area? It doesn't, and I never said that. Maybe go rewind the VOD. Apparently the map is misleading, but I read it on Twitter. Is that true? Because I'm pretty sure I've seen this map before. I read this map is inaccurate. Hold on. Map of Jewish settlements? No. Map of Israel borders. That's probably better. Over time? I'm getting the same map again. Is this better? I feel like this describes pretty much the same information. Well, it's something we can look into a little later. We're delaying a little bit on our future segments. We're an hour and 20 minutes in. All we talked about is a single tweet. Maybe we should roll it back a little bit. If Destiny takes the pro-Israel stance, will you go nuclear on him? No, because everything that I feel like half his political positions at this point are just about like triggering the left. You think Destiny would do that? He would go like pro-Zionist because lefties don't like Israel, so he'll be like, look, actually, if you look at it, the Palestinian people, if you look at the land agreement in 1987, you can actually see the Palestinian people weren't entitled to this particular something like that. You know, we'll see. Let's see how it goes. I don't care. Can you explain to me what makes you label Israel's actions are genocidal? They conquered a huge portion of the Palestinian territory, killed many, and forced hundreds of thousands to leave, destroying their territory and their land. That's already a genocide. That already annexing a huge swath of land and exiling hundreds of thousands of people is already one. You've already done it. You already stamped it right there. But then the slow encroachment of their land, the conquest of settlements, the extension of the border walls, the pushing them further into like apartheid zones where they can't vote, where their access to commodities are cut off, water is controlled by the Israeli government. It's harder and harder and harder for them to, yeah, like, I don't think displacement alone equals genocide. Okay, you can take it up with the United Nations if you really want to, okay? If you're really desperate to. What would you say to Zionists who argue Jews have been persecuted for millennia and need a state to protect them? Fine! Just don't do the genocide! Jesus! What you... Okay, first of all, even if you're the most persecuted minority on Earth, that doesn't justify being an ethno-state, okay? Sorry, if that doesn't work out, that sucks, okay? If it turns out that leading a real democracy in the Middle East doesn't work for you guys, then sorry, you don't get one, okay? Everyone needs to be a democracy everywhere at all times, all right? Second of all, don't do a genocide. Just don't. Just stop it. Just stop. Hands off. No genocide. Don't do it. Just hands off. Stop it. Stop. Stop it. Stop. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Come on. Yeah, very naughty. No more genociding, please. This sounds like a few loud dumb fuck. True. Do you think the U.S. should pay reparations to the Native Americans? Yes. More than you could ever fathom, okay? We will all be taxed 100%. Unironically, yes. Wait, yeah, of course. Have you seen what reservations look like? Hold on. Wait, just a second. U.S. reservation. Give me a good image, okay? No, U.S. reservation photos. Give me. It's just maps. U.S. reservation town? Can they even be called towns? I can't even find... Yeah. Here's some Navajo housing in Arizona. Yeah, I'd say we could kick them a couple $1 billion. I think that'd be cool. Like, it's not all like this. It varies, but like, yeah, okay, wait. You guys have seen what reservations look like if you've watched any this is traditional housing though. There's a reason they build like this. Dog, that's true, but they're still poor as fuck, okay? Like, this is a false representation. I've been on Navajo land myself. I'm not saying it. I just said it's not all like that. I can't ever say anything anymore. Anytime I say, hey, here's a thing, but there's differences, people are like, but there's differences. Like, I know. The reservations in America are really desperately poor. They're really super duper poor. Even the wealthier ones are poor by like the standards of any American state, you know? Look up the South Dakota reservations. All right. It just gives me map territory. Oh yeah, here we go. Here's a nice picture. Flooding hits South Dakota American Indian Reservation hard. Damn, look, the cradle of civilization decimated. I'm sure they're living in these horrible, dilapidated huts because it's their culture or something. No, this is terrible. Yeah. Natives also struggle with alcoholism disproportionately. Yeah, because they're probably don't have much to do in the reservations, right? Stats, not picks. We're not even on a segment right now. Chill. Jesus. Also, wait, is this just a racist myth that I've heard, or is it true that Native Americans are more genetically susceptible to alcoholism? Is that true? I think I've heard that. It's not true? Depends on the native tribe? I guess. No? That's become true over the last century or so? Flipped and canceled. Wait, guys, it's not it's like, you know how a lot of Asian people are lactose intolerant because their cultures didn't grow up like sucking down cow milk all the time? Like white people don't tend to be lactose intolerant, but Asian people tend to be because of their different dietary cultures. Yeah, it's not like totally out of the realm of possibility. I was just wondering. Wait, is that really a thing? Yeah. Wait, hold on. I'll wait, hold on. Lactose intolerance by race. Here we go. Lactose intolerance in adulthood is most prevalent in people of East Asian descent, with 70 to 100% of people affected in those communities. Lactose intolerance is also very common in people of West African, Arab, Jewish, Greek, and Italian descent. But Western Europeans tend to be pretty resilient to milk because we drank a lot of it like hundreds of years ago and shit. So, I don't know. I was just asking. They metabolize alcohol at a slower rate. You were correct. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Evidence for a genetic component for substance dependence in Native Americans. Is this legitimate, or am I about to repeat race realist propaganda? Look, let's just leave this aside, okay? It doesn't matter, and yes, they deserve reparations, okay? Okay? Can we stop? I feel like we're trying to push me into cancellation territory. Like we're desperately trying to push me there. Do you people want me to get banned on Twitch again? Is that what you want? You want to cram me in there? Christ alive. Who was the person who said that the reason the Native Americans lived in that housing was because of their culture or something? Behold, the ancestral dwelling of the Native American. These RVs used to roam free in the wild. What the fuck? Oh, it's so fucked up. We should give them trillions. Who treats their indigenous population worse, US or Canada? I genuinely don't know. I mean, I want to put my hand down on America just because I live here and I know how bad we've been, but maybe Canada. I genuinely don't know. Some people in chat are saying Canada, so maybe I don't know enough about it. I know that people go disappearing from Canadian indigenous reservations all the time, so. It's Canada by far? Damn. I thought you all were polite up there. Jesus. Good gallery of photos? Yeah. Oh, we're never getting to the segments today, are we? That's okay. We're learning lots today. What life on a Native American reservation really looks like. Arbitrary divisions. Yeah, like, differences in culture aside, every time I see stuff from Native American reservations, it looks like people with a rich and vibrant culture being crammed into the poorest imaginable living situation that I could even fathom humans living in a first world country existing in. Like, holy shit, you know? And of course, naturally, because there is no economic opportunity, there's going to be poverty and substance abuse and, yeah, so on, just a whole bunch of problems. But all tribes are different. Yes, all tribes are different. Just generally, we fucked them over. I don't think there's any tribe in America we didn't fuck over, so, you know. Also, obesity is a huge problem because there's literally nothing to do but eat and drink alcohol. Yeah, that makes sense. Aren't reservations just tiny ethno-states? First of all, no. Second of all, the reservation system is not a good system. Okay? So I'm going to say this really quick and I'm not taking any questions. Okay? All right? Are you guys ready for it? Okay? The reservation system exists as it does because it is a temporary stopgap measure to address what otherwise would have been the complete extermination of the Native American people. Originally, their reservations were supposed to be massive, and then we took more space when we found there was gold, oil, water, whatever in that territory that we wanted, so we took it. And one of the big problems with the cultural and societal integration of Native American people is that they've got a lot of... I'm not going to pretend to understand all of it. Look, they're like this beautiful cat, okay? See, right here? I don't understand them, but I respect them. All right? So a lot of Native American communities have cultural proclivities which differ massively from other tribes. I mean, how many hundreds of tribes are there crammed into those reservations? You know? Billions? Trillions? It's not just about giving them money and resources. It's about allowing them to interact with their land and the resources that they care about in a way that they care about most. Okay? So, in my personal opinion, if we gave Native Americans the resources necessary to live good lives, and then we let them live those lives for a century, I believe that most Native American people would move off reservations and come live with, like, in the broader, like, United States. And the reason for that is because, like any other cultural, religious, superstitious, ceremonial, mythological, whatever, I think at the end of the day, neoliberal culture swallows everything. They don't have to. They have a right to live where they want. But I think a lot of them are going to choose the up and about, fast, hip and happening lifestyle that us fresh-faced Americans enjoy. Hello. But in the meantime, they should be given far, far more than what they have. Do you want to learn something cool? Hold on. Let me set her down. Should I set her down? I should set you down, huh? Mwah. So stinky. So stinky. The stinky little baby is what you are. Yeah. There we go. She's leaving. We'll close the door so you don't say anything that gets me canceled from the other room. Pigeon. Pigeon, go. Pigeon. Pigeon, go that way. Pigeon. Pigeon, go that way. Yeah, just get her. How do you grow your beard? I wait. So do you guys want to learn something super interesting? The reservations, okay? Last thing we're talking about, then we got a segment. Is it depressing? Yes, it is, okay? I actually recently did some off-the-cuff calculations on the cost of reservations. There's a quote from Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. where he says that he's in favor of reparations. Sorry, reparations, not reservations. Where he's in favor of reparations and that really no demand made by Black Americans would be unreasonable because a full accounting of all the unpaid labor done by slaves, an account with interest, would be an astronomical sum. That actually, if it were done through the traditional legal means of recounting lost wages, then it would be an absurd, a preposterous amount of money. And I actually decided to roughly calculate that just a little bit, okay? And I don't have all the numbers in front of me, so this isn't going to be like a point by point, but there was a study done on how much labor was done by Black slaves. And I think it was something to the tune of 26 or 260 million hours. There was a study on it. I read the study. Its methodology seemed acceptable. It's probably within, like a few standard deviations of the correct answer at the very least. It was a very, very large number. We're talking, of course, about millions, tens of millions of people. And, even if you take a look at how many slaves there were at any given point in time in America, slaves lived on average like 22 years old because of how early they died for reasons you can again probably imagine. So there was there were more of them than you would expect in a given time period than you would sort of infer from their total amount during that time period. And anyway, so you take that, and then you take the average wage for a farmhand back in those days, okay? And then you calculate overtime pay because slaves worked overtime. Actually, everything they worked was overtime. But yeah, you calculate the overtime with how much you would expect them to work in a day, like how long did a slave work a day? And it differs, of course, what job they had specifically, but you get some rough numbers down, okay? We're only talking ballpark, all right? And you take that too, okay? So now you have the amount they should have been paid in their respective wages back in the day. Then you adjust for inflation, okay, which I think was about 18 times the previous amount because inflation only really kicked in the late 19th century. I got an inflation calculator. We got that working. Anyway, now you have a current dollar amount, which is representative of the total amount that should have been paid to black people back in the day. It's going to be in terms of trillions, isn't it? Shut up. Okay? But we're not done yet, okay? Because we need to factor in two more critical calculations. We need to factor in, first and foremost, damages, okay? Because these aren't unpaid wages. It was slavery. So we're not just talking give the money back. We're talking sorry for the enslavement plus giving the money back. So I took a look in a criminal case in a civil case of the average multiplier damages incur with regards to garnishing unpaid wages. We're taking them back. Now, in terms of severe abuse, the maximum multiplier usually caps out at around 7 times. So if you owe $100, but there's also severe damages, that turns into $700. However, there is precedent for even higher multipliers. Since we're talking literal human slavery, I just set it to times 10. Now, you could argue that's even too low. If times 7 is like beating a person, what is enslaving a person from birth, keeping them a slave their entire life, and then killing them or having them die from overworking at 42 years old? What damages does that occur, We stuck with the 10 times multiplier. And then you calculate interest. And for the interest payment, I took the lowest imaginable amount. Cumulatively, 1% per year. Now, that is not standard. Sometimes tort interest rates go up to like 19% per year. So we are talking the lowest imaginable, the most charitable to the state multiplier and interest payments. And you guessed it, even with that low interest rate, we are looking at just under $100 trillion owed to black people in America for reparations, a sum greater than the world economy, than the yearly GDP of the planet. Now, that's with a 1% interest rate. If you kick that to 2%, we start going exponential. It goes up and up and up and up and up. So, how much does that pan out for every individual? I didn't do the math. It would be a lot. Anyway, the point that we are arriving at here, laboriously, is that, people bitch and moan about reparations, but there's really no calculating how much would actually be owed if the full legal process of recompensation was put forth. It is astronomical, and it would bankrupt the country, every country, if they could extort money from the world for a very, very long time. So, yeah. Anyway, just think of that number whenever people tell you, hey man, slavery ended 150 years ago. Why haven't they caught up by now? Just... Did you watch the John Oliver segment on hair and black people? Yeah, I did, unfortunately. Ugh. Wait, why was it bad? Oh, the video was good. The problem is, oh god, I'm sorry, you that's the type of video that only works on people who already agree with the basic premises. That video was super antagonistic to its presumed white audience. And I have a feeling it's going to be culture war discourse for the next month because of it. You know what I mean? The video, its content, the argument, everything part of it was totally good. It was good. The Information was good. It's all good. The only problem is, like, when you're making a good point, but you're prefacing it with, hey, Whitey, shut up and listen, then you're going to then nobody who didn't already agree with you is going to listen to you, you know? Yeah. You know what I mean, right? Yeah. It is the highest dislike ratio for an Oliver video, like, ever. Yeah, it had a fair number of dislikes. Yeah, because it was fairly patronizing, you know? Like, I'm not personally wounded or anything. I just know that it's going to facilitate a lot of bad discourse. Yeah. Especially the last part was antagonistic as fuck, and I was on board the whole time. Yeah. It's like telling a conservative they have white fragility. It does nothing to help. Well, it's a virtue signal. I mean, first and foremost, it's like all the white liberals are supposed to clap their hands when they watch that and go, "I'm not the bad white person they're referring to." I'm sorry, but that is what it is. They're all supposed to soy face and clap and, you know, briefly glance over their Funko Pop collection that they have like next to them, and then they're supposed to go, "I'm not like that. I'm good whitey. I would never do that." Like that kind of thing, you know. But yes. Should we never be patronizing to conservatives? Be patronizing to conservatives for their conservatism. Don't be patronizing to all white people. It was patronization wasn't even at conservatives. It was at white people. You know? I saw the official transcript. I'm sorry. You get what I'm talking about, right? Did I see Kyle's response video? Yes, I saw Kyle's response video. Yeah. Markinator, thank you for the $5. Yes, I did know quite a few Persian Jews growing up in Beverly Hills. Emil Ustabil, thank you for the very kind tier 2 sub. Hello. Taryn, Rich, and Vorbuddy, thank you for the tier 1 subs. And Speedy Weenie, thank you for the gifted tier 1 sub. Really appreciate that. No state solution one of these days. Tatapunk Roller Girl and Quest is a Beast, thank you for the tier 1 subs both. Really, really appreciate that. Markinator, Weapon Factory, and Daniel Lannister, thank you for the $5 all. I really, really, really appreciate that. Very, very kind of you. Maybe Markinator. Do you think there's any feasible way to implement reparations? Yeah, I just think rebuilding an American infrastructure plan that addresses poverty and tries to deal with the redlining and economic disparity in inner cities is probably the best we can really do. Just giving money to black people, I don't think is going to solve the problem. In a week, it'll all end up in the hands of white business owners. There are a lot of like institutional things that we could do to fix these problems. We could probably fix a lot of these problems in 20 years if we cared enough to, you know? Femboy Hop Off Z, thank you for the very kind tier 2 sub. No, I've not played any VR games, comrade. Super Luminous, thank you so much for the incredibly kind $30. I really appreciate that. See you getting better and better at persuading people over to the left. Keep up the great work. Also, any chance you might check out Kenshi, $30 on Steam? Ha! Nice $30 donation. I don't know, comrade. That might not be my type of game. I can give it a look, though. I've heard other people recommend it. Thank you. I really appreciate that, comrade. All right, people. You all have exhausted me. Donate, and I'll do more segments, okay? Fuel me, all right? Pump it up. That's what I'm talking about, Under the Thunder. Thank you very, very much. Sake Tanuki, thank you for the very kind $10. Moss is great, especially on pita bread. Who doesn't like chickpeas? Shut the fuck up, Sake. Hummus is delicious, though. Why don't people eat shawarma more? My theory? Racism. Under the Thunder, thank you for the very kind $5. To pay reparations, every member of the U.S. government should buy Black Hammer indulgences at the Mao level. Pepe laugh. True! Oh, did you see that, by the way? The Gazi Kodzo person tweeted, like, we should gas the Jews, basically. Or Instagram that, or put that out on Instagram or something. Just this morning or last night. So, you know, getting desperate for the attention. Hold on, I think my remote is out of battery. Just one second. I have batteries back here. What? What? A what? Why would you ask me? Jesus. My air conditioning remote seems to be out of juice. Is this the right battery for it? Hold on. God damn it, it's AAA, not press the... There, just turn on. Jesus. Oh, by the way, guys, we're going back into full-on... What's the term? Full-on self-promotion sicko mode. Holy shit, thank you, guys. All right? We're going back into it at least once or twice per stream because I love you, and I hope you love me. All right? If you enjoy the stream, if you enjoy the sick-ass content, if you enjoy arguing with bad faith IDF propagandists in my chat, okay? Then you need to like and subscribe, okay? And donate if you really want to. But mostly like and subscribe. Let me pee and then we'll... Whew. All right. Are we feeling it, people? Are you feeling me feeling it? The next thing we're going to take a look at is Jordan Peterson
about the sort of
and Ben Shapiro together on wealth inequality. Yeah. Whew. But before we get to that, Olive33 thanks the Tier 1 sub. Kamajak with the very kind Tier 3 sub. Thank you very, very much. My goodness. Congratulations on your interview on finishing the work for your IT Associate's degree and for your upcoming birthday. I hope you have a wonderful birthday, comrade. Tom Olive Honstad. Hey, an old name, an old friend. Thank you very much for the 5 gifted Tier 1 subs, comrade. Thank you, my dude. I really appreciate that. My goodness. Social Praxis, the Tier 3 sub. Black Hammer taught me white name is bad. True! And what I still feel. Plenty more donations that we'll get to very, very shortly. Thank you so much for the kindness. I really can't tell you how much I appreciate being able to do this job. And, you know, pay my rent doing it, too. All right. My wonderful and extremely intelligent actualized friends who all have clean rooms, Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro together in the ring talking about wealth inequality and taking personal responsibility. Now, this right here is my content, okay? So we're going to try to address these arguments in good faith in case any Jordan Peterson fans happen to stumble into this channel and quickly flee in terror. I feel like being uncharitable to Jordan Peterson because he dodged my debate request on Twitter recently. Very cringe, you know? Very not self-actualized. You know, it's the 13th rule for life, okay? It's come and fucking debate me, Shapiro, and Jordan Peterson and everyone else, I guess, really. But anyway, one of the big reasons that I really, really dislike Jordan Peterson is because he pushes the traditional conservative framework that you not only do you have to take individual responsibility, which you do. It's good. I agree with that. That's fine. But individual responsibility is so supremely important that it supersedes all other kinds of social improvement. That if there's ever a systemic issue, like poverty being experienced by one group disproportionately, it's actually just a group of people not taking enough personal responsibility. The reduction of all social problems down to individual fault is one of the predominant issues, not only with liberalism, but with the carcasses feasting on its festering corpse, a la Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro is not a libertarian, by the way. He loves heavy state solutions. He wants to ban pornography, for Christ's sake. I mean, we're not exactly talking about a staunch warrior for free speech over here. Let's see what arguments we have to deal with.
So, Jordan, you were speaking a moment ago about the sort of lack of meaning that people are looking for, particularly young men. And it really is a big thing that young men seem to have lost meaning. Postmodernism killed the scientific rationalist world. And
no, that is not what postmodernism means. I don't feel like explaining this again. You know, for people who have respectively a PhD in psychology and a law degree from Harvard, neither of these people have even the faintest idea what postmodernism is or means.
The postmodernists have decided to substitute for that a certain utopian vision of the
Ugh.
remolding of American society in terms of what they call equity, but really amounts to tribal dynamics. And you
What he's really complaining about right now is that progressives exist. But if Ben Shapiro said, I don't like that progressives exist, he would come off like what he is, a conservative loon. So instead he says, this utopian postmodern dream of what they call it equity, but what they really mean is fundamentally reorganizing America. All of these complaints, all of these arguments could be made against Martin Luther King Jr. Seriously. If you actually think about it, well, I mean, they did. Back when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was, out and about, people like Ben Shapiro, racists, would make the argument that he was doing the same thing. He was inspired by Marxism, that he was using Bolshevik logic to reorganize the foundations of America, which are fundamentally a pro-white. He says equality, but he means black supremacy. It's the same argument, always. Shouldn't you explain postmodernism for the segment? Also for me, postmodernism is a lens of analysis which holds that there are no fundamental truths about the human experience that can be used to sum up that experience in its totality, but rather that human experience must be understood through multiple lenses of analysis that play off each other and interact in a variety of ways. Intersectional analysis and postmodern analysis play into each other, but are not directly correlative, but they'll use them one to the other. They'll use them interchangeably. But postmodernism does not mean that the world is fake or that science isn't real. That's not how it works. It's more like saying you can understand this. You can understand this. Michael Bay movie, through the analytical perspective of a person who just wants to have fun and enjoy a good time at the theater and, like jerk off through his pants pocket, because that's what Michael Bay fans do. Or you can analyze it through like this rigorous analytical film theory informed perspective, and that there are valid insights both perspectives can offer, that you can never say definitively that one of them is 100% and totally and completely correct. Does that make sense? All right, let's just move on.
You see this over and over, the radical left pushing its own version of utopianism. Classical liberals have been wrong-footed, I think, by the need for something more fulfilling, which is why classical liberalism always relied on an unspoken assumption that you were going to find meaning in your family, you were going to find meaning in religious community, you were going to find meaning in bettering your social life outside of government. But when that unspoken understanding just dissipated, when religion started to fall apart, all that was left was, well, let's just be rational with one another. There's not much inspiring there. And I think that's why you see that across the board, a drive toward irrationalism, a certain level of romanticism dominating the society to the point where irrationalism is much more prized than rationalism. If you make a rational point, if you cite data, very often this is now considered not only impolitic, but damaging and dangerous.
This is very funny from Ben Shapiro, a person who is allergic to using any kind of statistical backing for his arguments. So what Ben Shapiro just said is essentially illiteracy. I don't know if he was speaking in tongues there. That doesn't mean anything. Religion fell apart, so people turned to logic, but logic didn't give them meaning, so now they like anti-logic. What the fuck are you talking about? It's funny because the organizations that Ben Shapiro spends his life railing against are organizations that are rooted in rationalism. Ben Shapiro is the one who believes fundamentally that his feelings overwrite facts, that in spite of the overwhelming data in favor of, say, the existence of systemic racism, his personal belief that it doesn't is what takes precedence, which is why, of course, when he makes videos on these highly empirical subjects, he doesn't cite statistics. He doesn't cite sources. He doesn't address the sources provided by his opponent. He is a very fast-talking, very irrational person. And it's funny to me that from his own analytical framework, he would turn to anti-rationalism when apparently religion should be all he needs to get meaning.
The other thing that ideology does, and the radical leftists are also very good at this, is that it provides you with a convenient locale for the existence of evil. And so if you reflexively identify the patriarchy with evil, Well, first of all, that's a powerful idea. It independent of its broad merit.
We're seeing more feelings right now, by the way.
Now, it's not the only truth, and it's not the complete truth, but it's true. The reason it's true is because every hierarchical system degenerates, tends to degenerate in the direction of power. And
okay. Jordan Peterson is not a philosopher, and it's incredibly evident when he actually tries to talk about stuff like this. His self-help advice is acceptable, but oh my God, every hierarchy degenerates into power? What do you say? What is a hierarchy if not power? What are you talking about? And what feminist analysis begins with the axiom that patriarchy equals evil? Remember when he was supposed to debate Slavoj Žižek and he read the Communist Manifesto, which isn't even Marxian theory? He just skimmed like the top 10 points and he was like, well, the Marxist believes that all the proletariat are good and all the bourgeoisie are evil, and that if you just switch them, things would be fine. But like, it never is any such thing said. It's like a complete misreading of the text that a child could overlook. I don't think very much of Jordan Peterson.
All hierarchical systems are less than they could be. And that's partly because of the possibility that power and deceit will corrupt them, but also partly because we're willfully blind and deceitful in our own personal lives. And so when you tell young people that the cause of the trouble they see around them in the world, and maybe even the disquiet in their own heart, is the malevolent inadequacy of their society, that rings true. And they don't hear the rest of the story, you know, and it's the rest of the story that I've been trying to tell. They don't hear the story that, yeah, don't forget about the evil and corruption that exists in your own heart.
So Jordan Peterson is imposing a dichotomy here that doesn't exist. This is an argument that he likes to make. He says, oh, sure, there's evil in society, and you're so quick to point it out, you've forgotten the evil within. That's not the case. Chat, have you ever been told by a proponent of intersectional analysis or a Marxist or a leftist or what have you to never work on self-improvement? Have you ever heard that in your lives? Because I certainly haven't. In fact, if you go into leftist communities, you'll find that they're obsessed with self-improvement. Maybe by metrics that Jordan Peterson wouldn't necessarily approve of. You know, they're all trying to gape their assholes wider with bad dragon dildos, and I respect their journey. But I have never in my life heard like the mantra that like you shouldn't engage in self-improvement. The only thing I can think of that comes even close to that is when like girl bosses are telling other girl bosses that they're perfect the way they are. But that's been happening for like 1 billion years, okay? That's been happening for a long, long time, okay? Maybe it's true that there are a lot of like 12-year-old leftists online who just want to like lay in bed all day or whatever, and you can kick them in the ass, sure. But the idea that the problem with society, he's Martin Baileying a little bit too. Jordan Peterson is making it sound like he doesn't have an issue with systemic critiques when that's a lie. He just said, I don't mind when they make these critiques, but they've forgotten the evil with it. That's not true. He does mind when people make those critiques. Him and Ben Shapiro are both of the same cloth in here, you know? They're like, oh, conceptually, we don't have a problem with addressing systemic critiques, you know? Systemic critiques like anti-white racism, anti-Republican bigotry, you know, anti-Zionism, that kind of thing, you know, anti-white male bigotry, these big systemic critiques that we should address. And then when you actually look at the data and find out that's not substantiated in reality, you know, you have like the say systemic racism against black people, then they say, oh, no, you should be focusing on within black people. The evil is within you. Like, you know, it's basically a way of dismissing the concerns of civil rights organizations. It's not a new one, by the way.
And don't forget about the fact that nature, this wondrous goddess as portrayed by the anti-human environmentalists, and by that I don't mean all environmentalists, by the way, that wonderful goddess nature is also trying to make you ill and kill you at all times. And so,
is it ableist of me to make fun of him for saying nothing after all the brain damage he suffered? What should I? It's not problematic, right?
But the story that corruption exists in hierarchical structure, and that's a consequence of malevolence, the malevolent use of power and deceit. That's true. So it's very motivating, especially if you're young and you're looking for an adventure. Now, it's also too convenient, which is one of its tremendous dangers, because unless you're taught to look within and identify the malevolence there as the primary moral obligation, then you now have an excuse and a moral justification to take out all of your negative emotion, your hostility, your resentment, everything about you that's...
He takes forever to say the most obvious shit. Yes, okay, he's saying that just because you can levy systemic critiques, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't also try to engage in self-improvement. He's been saying this for like 5 years now. Are people not tired of hearing it? Nobody disagrees. It's also very patronizing, the idea that like everybody with a systemic critique of society must actually have some deep-seated personal problem. Pardon me if this is inconsiderate, but it comes off a little bit like projection from Jordan B. Peterson, considering his drug abuse problems and all the stuff that he kept secret for years while he wilted away. Like, not everyone is in that state, you know? The implication being levied by Peterson here is that, like, all your Black Lives Matter activists or whatever secretly have personal problems they need to levy. Now, there are some people watching who are going to say, that's not what he's saying. He hasn't specifically said that at all. To which my response is, Jordan Peterson never specifically says anything. Ever. Jordan Peterson never says anything except by implication. He never actually comes out and directly makes a political point. All he does is just ask questions in a very obvious direction where there's only one possible conclusion that you can arrive at. You know? As Zizek pointed out, Peterson's activism itself refutes Peterson's look-inside stance. Yeah, Peterson has said, don't try to change the world unless your house is in order, but Peterson went ahead and tried to change the world while his house was extremely not in order, which leads me to believe he doesn't actually believe in the stuff that he says. It's not a good look when self-help gurus violate their own ethical code to an extreme extent like that. And it makes me wonder, like, does he actually believe that all these civil rights activists, progressives, and postmodernists really need to work on stuff within, or does he just want them to shut up? And by work on problems within, does he mean by arbitrary metrics that they don't agree with? Like, he would look at some feminist girl with like tats and colored hair, and Jordan Peterson would say, you clearly aren't well enough to critique the so-called evil patriarchy until you address whatever emotional problems are causing you to look like that. Like, that sounds like something that he would say, right? Because he's argued that millennials and people who are suffering from the decay of liberalism find a lack of meaning in their lives, and they engage in these signifiers to compensate for it. I mean, people have been doing crazy fashion stuff for hundreds of years, thousands of years, so I don't know. I don't think that's a very good argument, personally, but it seems like it's just a way to make people shut up, frankly.
Unexamined on the demonic enemy. And, of course, that degenerates with extraordinary rapidity, as we've seen over and over and over. So it's up to the centrists on both sides to deal with this. I've been talking to
the centrists on both sides, from Ben Shapiro and Jordan B. Peterson. You know, just it's up to us centrists. But that's what they want to do. That's the lie they want to sell you. They're not making any strong political prescriptions. They're decrying this extremism, this lack of meaning, this unwillingness to adopt nuance in their critiques of the world on both sides, except they'll only ever talk about it from the left, you know? Or actually, I wonder, sometimes they will signal at poor behavior from the right, but it'll be the most extreme example of that behavior. So like Ben Shapiro might mention Charlottesville, and that'll be contrasted against the entirety of Black Lives Matter, the largest civil rights protest that has ever taken place in American history, you know, with tens of millions of participants. And it'd be like, yeah, these two things where people were being equally unreasonable.
To a lot of the optimist rationalist types on my podcast, Matt Ridley and Bjorn Lomborg and Haidt and Pinker, more distantly, but more recently, Lomborg and Ridley and Marian Tupy, who
does
written
sound
a
like
lovely
he's not
book
all there.
On human progress, 10 things everyone needs to know about human progress. It's something like that, huh? Anyways, one of the things we discussed consistently was the difficulty in promoting the message that all three of these men are very aware of, which is that from a material perspective, in terms of absolute privation worldwide, humanity is way better off on virtually every dimension you could possibly measure than ever. And most of that improvement has occurred in the last 40 years. And it's
This is another Mott and Bailey, by the way, that they like to throw out there really, 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 really often. It's funny, by the way, because this actually contradicts the basic message that Jordan Peterson tries to sell, that the cultural degeneracy of the past couple of decades has led to people lacking in a sense of purpose that has been destructive to Western civilization. See, they simultaneously say the West is crumbling due to postmodernism, but then they say, hey, communists, socialists, racist people, things are, anti-racist people, things are better than ever. Why would you complain about racism? Things are better than they ever have been, you stupid idiot. They have to adopt both of these positions simultaneously because, well, because it's a tenet of fascism. The belief that your society is the greatest one to have ever existed and that anybody who would decry it is delusional, and that your society is crumbling due to the influence of degenerates and foreign interlocutors, is a fundamental component, you saw it in Trump's rhetoric too, a fundamental component of fascist organization. Now, that doesn't mean these two are goose-stepping to and fro, though I wouldn't put it past them under the right circumstances. It just means that's the basic logic these types employ.
It's been revolutionary in its speed. And no one knows this.
Everyone knows this.
So it's very important to know.
Hello, Vosh, you really saying Peterson is a fascist? Yeah. Yeah, 100. Yeah, of course. He's a cultural conservative who preaches about degeneracy and uses the Nazi talking point of cultural Marxism as evidence that the West is crumbling. Yeah. The position that he pushes, yeah. Now, people think that, like, being a fascist means you have to be like a Charlottesville participant, okay? Like, you have to be out there and you have to be, like, with the swastika on your arm. That is not true at all. If fascism required you to be that obviously stupid, then there wouldn't be any fascist countries. There would have never been any fascist movements. In reality, the greatest perpetuators of fascism are not the lunatic Gestapo swastika on forehead types. They're the people like Jordan Peterson, the phony intellectuals who sit at home and they convince millions of young men that they're the ones who are going to be needed to prevent the cultural death of the West. That's kind of how it works, you know? And he doesn't talk about the strength of the state much. I think that's an important part of fascism. No, he just talks about the strength of the civilization and how the best way to defend that civilization is to attack the same groups of people that are already state enemies under a fascist government. So, I mean, he's a step removed. It's true that he doesn't go around screaming about how, like, America is the greatest nation to have ever lived or anything like that, though he kind of implies it a little bit with what he just said. But, I mean, you have to follow the logic that he pushes. Where do you think an average listener of Jordan Peterson is going to go after having listened to what he said? Do you think they're going to hear, postmodern Marxists are destroying Western civilization through their infiltration of academia, and the West is going to die unless a strong reactive force of cultural Christians come together and defend Western civilization? Like, where do you think they're going to go from that, right? Fascism and advocacy for fascism is a pretty broad range. If there are any people who disagree with me on this, then rather than thinking of the most hyperbolic fascist you can in your head and comparing that person to Jordan Peterson, think instead, do you think a fascist would take value from what Jordan Peterson has to say? Do you think a person whose positions are identical to a Charlottesville participant might listen to Jordan Peterson and think, hey, some of these positions are pretty agreeable? The main thing Jordan Peterson does that seems to deviate from the fascist line of logic is individualism. Jordan Peterson claims to be hyper-individualistic. But is he? He's constantly touting the importance of social meaning and Western civilization. And additionally, we already know that the preponderance of individualism in the skeptic community already pushes people towards fascism. Think Sargon of Akkad. That guy pushed himself as an individual, an individualist, for years. And now he's an ethno-nationalist. Does that make sense? Hopefully it makes a little bit of sense. Just my belief.
know, to try to think through why that is. Like, that's such a positive message. Now, I talked to Russell Brand about this, and I'm bringing him up for a reason. He's a lefty by temperament and by heart. And
nice.
His first objection, but he's very thoughtful and quick. His first objection, you know, I pointed out all this data showing that by every possible objective measure, everything is way better than it was certainly 100 years ago, but certainly even 20 years ago.
If this is the case, then why doesn't it put to rest all the fear-mongering that people like Jordan Peterson engage in, where they talk about the death of the West? What about, like, Bill C-16? Didn't Jordan Peterson spend his entire career talking about how if we didn't pay attention, the anti-free speech woke postmodernist mobs were taking everything away from us, that they were already doing it? Does this not completely undo all of that? Or is it perfect right now? It's best that it's ever been right now, but in like 2 days, it's going to be the woke PC mob controls everything. Where's the line exactly, you know? And also, how is this a counter-argument to the position of a lefty? Couldn't you say, yeah, things are better than ever before, but we can make it better? Like, how are those contradictory positions? I think they mean by living standards. Jordan Peterson said by every standard. I'm going to take him at his word here. He is a PhD, and he should be more careful with his language if that's not what he means.
Even on the environmental front, in the main. And he said,
how is the environment better now than 20 years
disparity
ago?
Of distribution. So there's the problem of absolute level of wealth, let's say. That's improving. But there is still tremendous disparity. And of course, that is fair enough. You could even point out that the role of the left is to provide a conscientious voice for that's constantly attending to the fact of continuing disparity, regardless of absolute level of wealth. And fair enough, but
what was the Russell Brand argument?
Having said all that, it's a great mystery that incremental optimism is not sufficiently motivating. And
wait, what was the point of the Russell Brand segue? Did I miss a conclusion to the end of that? Yeah, was he just name dropping? One day, Jordan Peterson will name drop me for clout sharking. He'll be on Joe Rogan, and he'll be like, yeah, I talked to Vosh that one time. And Joe Rogan will be like, dude, really? We can't even get that guy on. And Jordan Peterson will be like, yeah, he had 5 minutes to fit in between his lunch break and playing Bloodborne Chalice Dungeons for 17 hours. It was a really enlightening conversation. I'm an anarcho-syndicalist now, right? Look at the future. Yeah.
You can't just wish human nature is going to change. It's not going to change. We got to tell a better story.
What are we talking about?
And I also think that's why.
Wait. Who was talking about human nature? Wait, at what point, in what context was human nature being discussed? What do we mean here? The last thing that he mentioned was wealth disparity. Is there a human nature towards wealth disparity? What?
Target, I think, is because I am actually trying to tell a better story, and I'm actually having some success with it.
No, you're not.
So I totally agree with that, and that really does bring us to the book, because one of the things that folks should know about all of your books is that they are very intimate, very personal. You talk about yourself, but you also speak in a way that most writers do not. You use second-person pronouns. I mean, you speak directly to the reader. You say, you feel this way. You think...
This is cult shit, by the way. I'm sorry, okay? I don't have much respect for the self-help profession in general, but when you're... Yeah, there are a lot of... Jordan Peterson and Elon Musk are similar in the sense that they're the surrogate daddies of a bunch of wayward loser guys who feel like an empty hole in their chest. But I cannot express to you enough how little a reverence of these men will do for you. Okay? Like, absolutely none. Okay? First of all, Elon Musk is a complete poser and does nothing for anyone. And at least Elon Musk actually makes shit. No, he doesn't. He buys companies that make shit. He hires engineers that make shit. And a lot of the shit that he hires engineers to make ends up being pretty stupid and ineffective anyway. The Tesla is an overpriced and under... Did anyone else see that Cody Johnson video? I mean, I'm just going to repeat points from there, but Elon Musk sucks on, like, every level. Anyway, with regards to Jordan Peterson, like, Jordan Peterson's role here, his road, is completely vacuous, okay? Jordan Peterson will teach you to engage in self-improvement, and that's good. Everyone should do that. Everyone should engage in self-improvement as much as you can. It's good to be self-improved. That's good. And I have read the first 12 Rules for Life. I haven't read the second 12 Rules for Life. And the first one was honestly pretty okay. But Jordan Peterson is not just the books he writes. The books are relatively agreeable. The lectures that he delivers, the political prescriptions he makes, are batshit. And what they do is they reveal his actual goal. He wants you to be another Christian conservative. It's not just about individualism. It's not about self-actualization. It's about listening to him and getting from him a set of political prescriptions that fall you in line with broader culturally conservative movements. That's it. And that is not a road that goes that is not a road that will help you in with regards to self-improvement. Because whether you like it or not, you live in a society. And as long as you live in that society, many of the problems in your life are just going to be tiny, tiny facets of larger problems that can only be solved systemically. I mean, God, don't the incels know this? Hey, guys, isn't dating culture kind of bad right now? Isn't it wild how, like, it's hard to date and, like, interactions between men and women are so difficult? Jordan Peterson talks about this. That's a systemic issue. That's not an individual issue. It's like, oh, if only 8 billion human beings chose to individually change their behavior, then we could fix this. No, that's not how it works. It's a systemic issue that can be addressed through cultural changes. The cultural changes Jordan Peterson will hint at, not suggest directly, but hint at, is women shouldn't be in the workplace, women should be barefoot and pregnant at home, men should be like the caregiver, or not the caregivers, the breadwinners, etc., etc. But, man, you ever read Death of a Salesman? Traditional gender roles did not make people happy, like, at all, okay? Like, not even slightly. If you want really good ways to, like, up your degree of social integration, here's what you should actually do, okay? Stop obsessing over internet gurus. Go outside. Participate in social events. Talk to people without expectation. If you make friends, you can make friends. Some of those friends will end up being partners or lovers. That's awesome. Spend more time with your family. Go outside. Touch grass, you know? And if you want to build a society that makes it easier to do those things, you know what does it even better than churches in an era of increasing secularization? Urban development. You should want cities to be integrated with mixed zoning so that you can go outside and go to a local cafe, not these alienating suburbs that stretch out for hundreds of square miles surrounding cities, not these massive highways that cut through any city areas, polluting the environment, leaving everyone to spend 40 minutes a day in their car for a commute. No, no. There are ways to fix these problems. There are solutions to these problems, but you won't get them from Jordan Peterson. Jordan Peterson can help you with some baseline self-improvement nonsense. Great. There are better places you can get that from. But he will move you away from some of the broader solutions to the alienation, meaninglessness that a lot of people feel. You'll notice that suicide rates correlate heavily to suburbia. Why do you think that is?
Think this way. And a lot of people read that and say, I do think that way. This is a person who's speaking directly to me in a way that mainstream political books very often do not. They consider me sort of a widget in whatever ideology they're pushing, or they're considering the value of systems or not systems. But you sort of end around that. And I think that in many ways, that's what members of the left find so threatening, is because if you're a member of the left and you believe that all individuals are essentially just the outgrowths of institutions.
If Ben Shapiro was smart, you'd think he would be able to accurately represent the positions of his opponents, right? This is ridiculous. He and JP are like, well, the left say that individuals don't even exist, and actually we're all just components of a larger system with no individual agency or free will. That's why the left is actually the real racists, because they take a look at black people, and rather than seeing a bunch of individuals who just happen to be individually failing in very, very, very coincidentally similar ways all across the country, they actually see a broader institutional problem. They don't even see individuals, okay? They're just racist. Yeah, no. The idea that we are beholden to systemic problems and solutions, and that we are individuals with a responsibility for our own behavior, these are not incompatible. Chat, is that incompatible? There is nothing even remotely incompatible there.
And therefore, that all change by individuals is going to be insufficient, and that it must be societal change that creates individual change.
You can do both.
You're a threat, because you're telling people, well, the systems can certainly get better, but the main threat to you is you, and that is a deeply threatening message to people. And if people...
Hold on. That's a lie right there. Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro do not say the systems can get better. Anybody who promotes any solutions to existing social problems is met with a bombardment of bad faith arguments from the both of them. with Jordan Peterson's Things Have Never Been Better, or Ben Shapiro's cringy PragerU intellectual tier, there was never any such thing as systemic racism after the passage of the Civil Rights Movement, or of the Civil Rights Bill. They do not want systemic critique, no matter what they say to you.
People find fulfillment in that message, then the left really does have a problem, because if people start improving their lives within the system and not blaming the system for their problems, and instead recognizing that they can improve their lives, that's what members of the left hate most of all. You know, you talk about in the book, Jordan, the fact that people are constantly coming.
Isn't it interesting that Ben Shapiro right now is saying that antipathy towards society is what moves people to the left, but the entire Republican Party right now is organized around the idea that Trump was denied victory in the 2020 election, a myth that Ben Shapiro has pushed into in his own ways? A sense of victimhood is literally the glue binding the Republican Party together right now. Republicans don't actually have any underlying policy goals, which is why back one day before Trump left office, like 80% of the Republicans were in favor of the economy, and then the day Biden took office, now it's like 17%. Republicans don't actually, their positions and opinions on the political state of the world have nothing to do with reality and are based entirely around a constant sense of persecution. What about the January 6th attack on the Capitol? What about everything you do on your show, Ben Shapiro, where you complain about being under attack and you complain about what you would call a systemic issue? Those postmodernist, Marxist, progressive, BLM, whatevers, you're complaining about a systemic issue, and you bring people over to the right by fear-mongering about those people. I would argue that people on the left, first and foremost, are pushed into believing what they believe out of a principled belief in improving the world holistically, and people on the right are the ones who look past individual problems and rather complain about perceived bigger slights. Which is the reason, by the way, why people like Steve Bannon, personal accompaniment to Donald Trump's presidential administration for a time, had a history of recruiting people to the alt-right by targeting incel and gaming communities, finding miserable people and using their misery to convince them that their solutions could only be found through, say, the rejection of postmodernism, multiculturalism, progressivism, feminism. Everything you claim the left does, the right does far more.
Coming up to you, and they're saying things like, you know, I was leading a dissolute life. I read your book. I started taking your advice, and I've turned it around, and now I'm doing much better in life. And, you know, I'm blessed to have much the same experience from a lot of people who listen to the show, people who have been homeless, who now have graduated Harvard Law School, people who were single moms and then decided to take a college course and figure out their lives, people who have made mistakes and turned their mistakes around. And to me, those are inspirational stories. I think that because those inspirational...
But the left would look at those stories and say, no, don't go to college and get a job and turn your life around. You're supposed to be on welfare and just complain about the system all day. No! Is he going to say that? He might say that, actually.
Stories exist. That, I think, is why people find you to be such a threat. It's because so many people are inspired by the stuff that you say.
What? No, he's implying it. Yeah. Why people find you to be a threat? Because you convince people to go get night classes at college. Okay. I mean, I get emails like that all the time from people who are telling me that my videos inspire them to engage in self-improvement. So what are we to do with that? I mean, do we want to compare numbers as a proportion of our relative popularity? It's not a phenomenal metric.
And change their life individually without putting all of their ire and focus on a system that the left is mainly focused on tearing down.
Notice how earlier Ben Shapiro says there are ways the systems could be better, but now he describes it as the left tearing down the system. These people don't want any systemic critiques. Don't listen to their bullshit. Don't listen to their bullshit for a single fucking second. These people pretend to be amicable to the idea of a multidisciplinary approach to social problems, but the nanosecond you bring up a social problem, you'll be the one tearing it down. You're the one who's engaging in bad faith arguments. You're the one who's being a bigot towards Republicans. The exact same arguments that you see them making here will be made against you.
I defy anyone to go read 10,000 comments on my YouTube channels.
Already have. I've read all
and
three.
Not come away with a much better...
Wait, is this actually a joke? Is this PhD actually going to say, look at my YouTube comments, you can tell my system works? Are we really...
With a much refreshed view of human nature.
What?
The comments are...
What about human nature? What are we...
Unbelievably positive, and not in a naive sense. They're positive in a thoughtful sense and in a communal sense, because...
Hold on one second. Let me just go to YouTube. Vosh Jordan Peterson. Here we go. Jordan Peterson is a pseudo-intellectual hack. That's a year old. Actually, nearly 2 years old. Take a look. I'm at my old apartment. Here we go. Let's take a look at the YouTube comments. Damn. Looks like people agree with me. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Lobster man. Damn. This is a very effective way of engaging an argument. Sort by new? Oh, no. We'll do it. I don't know if it will be as friendly. I would be grateful if you could elucidate us about how it's ridiculous to compare postmodernism with Marxism. I understand Marxism is primarily a critique of the Western capitalist system, but it would seem that critical theory is the application of Marxist methods of critique applied to all other aspects of society, that one can be exploited for more than just economic gain. Not wait, how long is this? Ugh. All right. Check the Daniel comment. I can't believe you said that. Now I can't take you seriously. Take a fucking flight. Shit, ask a Venezuelan about that. Uh-oh! 9:35. This is going to be the end of my career. This is getting included in the new video. What did I say?
Chavez's and Maduro's sort of continued legacy in Venezuela actually produced a pretty substantial rise in the quality of living over there. Not to mention the USSR modernized.
That was true before everything went to shit, wasn't it? It's been a while since I've talked positively about Venezuela, but as I understood it, before the big economic fucking brouhaha, there actually was a pretty substantial... Shit was going down like 2014. Yeah, I was referring historically, yeah. I think so? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, but it went to shit. Yeah, but I don't think it went to shit because of fucking Hugo Chavez.
The people who are making comments on the lectures are also commenting on each other, and there's ideological babble on both sides. I would say that's probably 5% of the comments. And generally, I believe they're written by people who didn't actually watch the lecture because they're...
Are we... Wait. I'm sorry. I'm engaging in some pretty petty shit right now, but are we seriously saying, like, if you look at the YouTube comments, you'll find that people actually support what I say. Now, there are going to be negative comments, but those people never actually watch the video. Damn, that's a really... Is this, this is, how you should... This is the future of defending your PhD, your doctoral thesis, you know? Throwing that out there. I released a live reading of my research onto YouTube, and as you can see, I have 7 comments. Now, 5 of those comments are positive, 1 of them is neutral, and 1 is negative. However, I have reason to believe the negative comment did not actually come from a person who fully watched my video. If you take a look at this line right here, where he talks about having sex with my mother, you'll notice this doesn't actually substantively critique anything contained within my work. I don't know if this person may have not even watched the first half, possibly. I don't mention sex with my mother until at least 3/4 in, and at that point, you'd think he would have given note to any of the many, conditions by which I explained the situation beforehand.
Often out of context, but in any case, 95% of the comments are thoughtful, but also extremely positive, which is very rare in a social media comment landscape, which tends to be very, very toxic.
What?
And so I think that's absolutely great. And it certainly has that impact on me when I read it.
But the comments are going to be mostly positive for any political figure. You can see that from a Nazi channel. I mean, unless you get brigaded from another channel, as long as you're making content that your audience expects, your comments are always going to be positive.
But then...
Except for Abigail Shapiro.
Here's something else that I've observed in the media attacks that have been directed towards me. They're not just directed towards me. First, they're directed to who they think I am. So that's kind of interesting to begin with. But more than directed to me, and more perniciously, is that they're directed to those who are hypothetically following.
Sorry, your Peterson impression is not as good as Hassan's. Yeah, you know why? Because Hassan's voice is higher and whinier than Maya's. No shit, he can do a better JP impression. Have you heard him talk? Yeah, of course, obviously. Okay?
Me. Now, I don't regard myself as someone with followers. I regard myself as someone with viewers, listeners, and readers. And that's different. But in any case,
Jesus Christ.
My typical follower, so goes the story, is a disaffected.
This is really bad to watch, man. This guy is one of the most well-known conservative demagogues, and he's my my last video had at least a 96% like to dislike ratio. I don't like to call them viewers, more Socratic observers. Come on, man. JP, are you okay?
Affected, angry, young, white male.
Oh.
And for a while, I, in some sense, pushed back against that and said, well, my audience is about 70% male, but YouTube's...
Wait. Bullshit, your audience is 70% male. You yourself have tweeted out that it's like 95% male. Does anyone have that? Does anyone have that tweet? Jordan Peterson tweet male audience. Where is that? Oh, 91%. JP? I know this is from 2017, but I imagine that his demographic base is pretty much the same. I doubt he's tripled the female viewership since then. Why? Why so few women? I wonder why. Yeah. Maybe by women he includes beta males. I have a 70% alpha male ratio and 30% beta male ratio viewing my videos.
Skews male, so that's perhaps part of the reason. And I see no evidence that it's particularly limited racially or ethnically, especially when I see my lecture crowds and when I meet people on the street. But
so apart from the fact that this is a really pathetic attempt at using idpol to deflect from criticism, I do think that it's not just white guys for Jordan Peterson. Excuse me. The reason Jordan Peterson is very, 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 very heavily slanted towards a male audience is because all the shit he says is like from a male perspective for men. Like his comments about women in the workplace and like men and meaning and how women are the chaotic dragon and women are darkness and men are the light and men is like, yeah, okay, wow. Women also try to find order in their lives, but from his philosophical perspective, women are like the beacons of darkness that you have to conquer in order to bring meaning to your life. It's really fucking weird. And if you actually read his like he does some little weird shit in there about ladies. Yeah, plus like you only wear lipstick to imitate the arousal of like nobody actually thinks that way, okay? Like even slightly, all right? Would Jordan Peterson like say that men shouldn't wear suits with padded shoulders in the workplace because they simulate a stronger V taper, thus implying a greater degree of physical fitness and thus they're sexually enticing the people around them? No, Jordan Peterson would never make that argument about men wearing padded shoulder places in the workplace because no, he wouldn't do that. Also, is it women's fault that they're literally expected to wear makeup in many workplaces? Like a lot of workplaces expect women to wear makeup. It's not, they're not doing it to like fuck all the people there. They're doing it because it's a social expectation, you know? JP fans would disagree that he said women shouldn't wear makeup. That is because Jordan Peterson is a coward and and it's infectious and his audience has gotten to too. Again, if you watch all of his segments, lectures, interviews, discourse, debates, whatever, Jordan Peterson is allergic to making a direct, prescriptive statement. He will ask questions. He will pick apart arguments that disagree with the thing he's implying, but he doesn't just flat out say it. It's the same reason why he is infamous for having followers who will ask you to look up all the context of all the shit that he said before you have any right to criticize him. It's because he's annulled and saturated every real point that he could possibly make with 80,000 pages of meaningless drivel designed to prevent people from holding him accountable for what he says. That's why he is the way he is. Your fans do that too. In fairness, the reason why that happens in my community is because people will very deliberately clip out of context shit that I say, designed to clip it out of context. And usually you guys saying, look at the context, is showing like the preceding and following 10 seconds of whatever it is I said. You know, that's a fairly direct process. You're not being asked to consume all the media I've ever produced. You're just being asked, hey, maybe don't look at this 3-second segment, look at the 30-second segment around it, which I think is more acceptable, you know? And even if that was a fair point, yeah, it doesn't excuse Peterson.
But then I started to realize that that was the wrong response. The right response is, why does it disturb you so much that there's a group of people who, by your own admission, are disaffected and angry and alienated?
Wait. Wouldn't them being disaffected and alienated be evidence of a systemic problem? Because he always argues about the individual solution, but if you're experiencing millions of people being systemically discriminated, alienated, disaffected, what are the faces that are being made right now? Oh, whatever.
And young, and I'm helping them. And why is that exactly a problem? What is it that I'm supposed to be doing with them?
Oh, he's
just
mad.
out of curiosity. What do you think? If you had your druthers, would I ignore them? Would no one talk to them? Is that actually what you want? Well, the answer seems quite clear, that that is exactly what's wanted. That's what's...
So this is very fallacious thinking on Jordan Peterson's part. It's, if there are any JP fans still watching, then like you should be laughing at this. This is very below his potential intellectual capabilities. So first and foremost, no on so many levels. A, he is acknowledging the existence of systemic problems, and he, as a public figure, is a part of a systemic solution, potentially. He's advocating himself as a systemic solution while rejecting the concept of systemic social analysis. See, Jordan Peterson is a huge public figure. If he's talking to millions of people, he actually does have the power to affect systemic solutions and problems. He has control over the discourse, at least to some extent. So the fact that he has some of that control means that his advocacies are themselves component to a systemic analysis of society. He just described a systemic problem. So he pretends that this is all an individual thing, but it's really not. If you're talking about millions of individuals having individual problems that are all exactly the same and being caused by larger social problems, that's systemic. Excuse me. Additionally, the idea that because people are criticizing him and they don't want him to address the alienation of these people, therefore, is ridiculous. What if he's just doing a bad job of it? Like, couldn't any cult leader make the same claim? I took all these people into my flock, and all I've heard since then from the media and the papers is nag, 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 criticism, criticism, criticism. You know, you all came here sad, and now you're happy. It seems like they don't want you to be happy. This is a completely not functional line of logic. That's not how that works. Anyway, those are just some very basic criticisms. I feel like most freshmen in college should understand why what Jordan Peterson just said is stupid.
It's held forth because there's this implicit assumption in all of this critique that in my very active aid, I'm doing something immoral. Immoral enough to be parodied, let's say, as Red Skull. So just what the hell's going on here? It's like, why is that now fodder for parody or slander? Precisely. I mean,
remember that this guy, so if this guy worries about being taken out of context, keep in mind this guy just front-facedly lies all the time. The C-16 shit was really clear. Do you guys remember that back in 2017? He was like, the government is going to come, they're going to arrest you. They'll kill your children in the streets if you don't pronoun correctly. I would rather die. I'll live on my feet. I'll die on my feet rather than live on my knees. The postmodern, neo-modern. And nothing happened. Nothing happened. To this day, still, right now, the 11th of May, 2021, nobody has been arrested for misgendering anyone in Canada. Nothing has happened, but he gained millions of followers fear-mongering over it. It passed, nothing happened. Why aren't JBP fans pointing out this obvious lie? Do you not feel betrayed? That, like, many of you got on board with him because of the critiques, the fear-mongering that he levied that ended up being completely non-existent? Like, if I was in with somebody, like if there was a public figure I respected, and they made a career out of fear-mongering over something that didn't happen, I would really question my beliefs. I mean, like, it would be like getting in on board with, like, Alex Jones or something. Like, you know, and all the crazy shit he predicts that doesn't happen. Do you ever, like, think about it? You know? I believed him and I almost went down the alt-right pipeline because of it. Yeah, because he made it sound really scary, but he completely fucking lied. And he's never acknowledged it, by the way. Now, I'm pretty sure since then he said when questioned on it, well, it's only a matter of time or something like that. Yeah. That's not entirely true. That guy got arrested for misgendering his daughter, but that had literally to do with C-16. Wasn't that in America? And also, wasn't that because he violated a court order? That had nothing to do with C-16. Yeah, we're several degrees removed from C-16 doing anything.
Do you debate the fact
that was in Canada? Sometimes, yeah. But it was not because of C-16.
That I'm helping? Well, you go read the comments yourself and see what you think. And so then,
you think I'm doing harm? Look at my YouTube comments. Couldn't a neo-Nazi make that argument? Anyone could make that. Socialists could make that argument. What are we talking about?
I thought about that a bunch too. I thought, well, what is it with men, the men that I'm
seriously
speaking to, let's say?
God.
Why are they responding positively? Why did they come to my lectures, the biblical lectures even, which is very surprising, right? Because what the hell are men doing at a biblical lecture, especially young men, especially when they could go do anything else and they have to pay for it? It's like, what are they doing coming to this lecture? Well, if the patriarchy is an evil tyranny, then the appropriate attitude towards any male ambition.
Whoa, hold on. Again, this is really low IQ shit. Ya boy, is this your philosopher right here? He's about to say something unfathomably dumb. I'm pausing the video in the hopes that I can like psychically alter the contents of this recording and make it less stupid, but it's not gonna happen, is it?
Is to not treat it as ambition, but to treat it as nascent drive to tyrannical power.
Nobody, no public figure, feminine, whatever, are saying that men being ambitious is men being driven to tyrannical power. But guys, hey guys, you know why I call Jordan Peterson a fascist? Because he just made an argument you've all heard before. Anti-sexism is a code word for anti-male. Oh, if you reject the patriarchy and think it's evil, then you must think that all men's ambitions are actually a sign of tyrannical. Or, if phrased by another group of people, well, if you believe white supremacy is real, then you must believe all white men trying to live good lives is actually some kind of crazy anti-black. Where have we heard this logic before, people? From fascists. We've heard it before from fascists. It is the same logic. Oh, I'm not opposed to systemic critique, but when you do levy a systemic critique, such as the existence of male supremacy, the patriarchy, I will misrepresent it so severely that I will claim that you believe that any man succeeding or being ambitious on any labor is something that you believe is equivalent to tyranny. Thereby, your anti-hate movement is actually the real hate movement. But I'm totally fine with systemic critique, by the way. I'm not a fucking crackpot, by the way. I'm reasonable. You can tell I'm reasonable because I wear a suit and I look like an affable, wealthy older man, and because I speak in philosophical gibberish that upon further examination means little because my degree is in psychology and not philosophy. You can tell I'm reasonable. I'm not really far right. I don't know why people have issue with me decrying civil rights movements, saying the West is dying due to postmodern neo-Marxism, and that men need to reject feminism because it's a repudiation of human nature, and, you know, it's pushing them towards anti-male thought, and hey, you know, if you take that logic, it seems like BLM's doing kind of the same thing, and hey, maybe if you think about it a little longer, maybe, yeah, you know, this is a white man's country, and this is a Christian country, if you really think about it, and I don't see any reason why things ye back in the day had to change as much as they ended up doing. The 1965 Immigration Act, the Hart-Celler Act, did end up having a pretty significant effect on America's demographics that did coincide with the induction of postmodern neocolonial Marxism into America as a product of the Frankfurt School. And yeah, now that you mention it, there is a pretty strange ethnic and religious bias in the academics that keep pushing those ideas, and I think you get the point. There's a good reason why people accuse Jordan Peterson of being a fascist. Nothing that I just said, by the way, is really that much of a logical extension of the arguments that he's already made. It's just a matter of what he's already willing to say. I have a feeling that in a more radically right society, he would probably move quite a bit further to the right in what he advocates for. Does anyone disagree with that? You understand the logic I'm putting forward here, right? All of the justifying frameworks that he's built here work to push for a fascist agenda. Even if he personally doesn't believe all the things that I just said, the logic, the underlying mechanisms, the rejection of progressivism, the attribution of conspiracy and bigotry to civil rights movements, it's indicative. Hasn't Jordan Peterson vehemently criticized the Nazis? Haven't most American Nazis? Have not all fascists? What do you mean by that? Is that the metric we're going to use now? Go to Charlottesville, ask how many of them condemn the Nazis. I bet you'll find quite a few of them disavowing the actions of Hitler, you know? It's not about whether or not he's a Nazi. It's about whether or not the logic he employs furthers fascist aims. He's a public figure. I don't give a fuck what's going on in his head, his very damaged head. I care about what he does to other people. Yeah, but he gave hours-long lectures about the dangers of fascism because he compared fascism to collectivism, or what was it called? Collectivism. What's the term? No, it's a collectivism, right? Yeah. Also, plenty of people who push for fascist ideas have condemned fascism. Sargon of Akkad being an example. Are we really doing this again? How long do I have to have this YouTube channel before we have to stop having this discussion? You know, Jesus. Yeah, I'm totally not on board with Jordan as a fascist take. He's been outspoken many times against it. Then it's a good thing that I didn't say Jordan Peterson is a fascist. I said that, well, sorry, wait, hold on. Then it's a good thing sorry, I thought you said Nazi there. I do think Jordan Peterson is a fascist because I believe a fascist is a person who pushes for politically fascist ideals, which he does. But you don't have to be on board with every element of the end goal of every fascist government in order to push for fascist ideals. There are plenty of people who call themselves like radical centrists who push for fascist ideals. Is this like a spectacularly difficult thing to understand? What a bullshit thing to say, oh my god. Oh, we can address this for 2 minutes, that's okay. And then you're all going to get banned. Okay, so hold on. So I'm not a fucking idiot. My IQ is greater than the current temperature of the room that I'm sitting in. So I understand that when people push for given ideas, the impact that they have with that advocacy is more important than what is personally going on in their head. So for example, do you guys think, let's roll back to a previous point from this stream, that Yang personally, morally believes that he is pro-genocide? Do you think that Andrew Yang, because of that tweet that he sent out, is like, yes, morally I am in favor of genocide? Of course not. Absolutely not. But he is pushing for genocide advocacy by framing the Israeli-Palestinian conflict the way that he is. And because he's a public figure, to whom millions listen, I don't give a fuck what's going on in his head. At all. I do not care what's going on up in here. I care about the consequences of the words that you speak. Now, I notice that a lot of people in chat are very fixated on the labels here, rather than the actual ideas or arguments or forms of logic that are being pushed. This is again because you're very low IQ, but I'm here to help you. Maybe I won't even ban you, okay? The label is a useful signifier to a broader set of ideas, but I explained in what I consider to be a decent amount of detail the reasons why I believe Jordan Peterson's arguments push people towards fascism. Now, as far as I'm concerned, he's got a millions strong audience. That means he pushes for fascism. As far as I'm concerned, that means he's a fascist. I think most Republican voters are fascist. Even if you ask your average Republican voter, do you believe in fascism? Do you believe in Nazism? They'll say no. And then you'll ask, do you believe that Donald Trump should have won the 2020 election? And they'll say, yes, actually, I believe that all of media and academia are corresponding to destroy white America, Christian America, and that we need a strong leader to crack down on dissonance and crime. We also need an isolationist government to prevent foreigners from coming in here. Like, well, I'd call that person a fascist, but they wouldn't call them a fascist, and I don't particularly care what they'd call themselves. Now, if you don't like the label, that's fine. We can drop it. But the fact that you're jumping to the label instead of dealing with the arguments reveals that you might be avoiding some uncomfortable truths here, in my opinion.
Which is certainly what Foucault would recommend, for example, or Derrida.
No, Foucault and Derrida, jumping on that previous point, have never said that men who are ambitious are actually tyrants. Why?
Because it's all power. And so if you see some young man...
Wait, it's all power doesn't mean being an ambitious person means you're a tyrant. What? Why doesn't he understand any of the philosophers he cites? He doesn't know. Jordan Peterson fans, can you justify this? He doesn't know.
Trying to stand up and better himself in any dimension, you're not going to trust that. You're going to identify that as the manifestation of tyrannical power.
And again, he legitimately seems to believe that Foucault argues that any person being ambitious means they're a tyrannical manifestation of power. This isn't just a misreading of Foucault. He's never read Foucault. He doesn't know. He doesn't understand. Wouldn't your average radlib be a socialist by your logic then? If you can define a radlib for me, then I'll give you an answer, but I don't think anybody has a consistent definition on that one.
And clearly, if the patriarchy is a malevolent tyrant, then any sign of the desire to contribute it to it should be at minimum.
How is a man being ambitious a contribution to the patriarchy? What? What is the logical extension there? I'll tell you what the logical extension is. It's another element of anti-sexism is a code word for anti-male. The argument that he's making right now, fundamentally, is that you should be pro-patriarchy as a man. Because if you're not, then you're in favor of a bunch of tyrannical feminist harpies who believe that you're being unethical merely for being confident or for being self-assured or for being ambitious in your life. That's the argument being made right now.
Not encouraged, but more subtly criticized and discouraged at every possible opportunity. And that's our culture.
Jesus.
If you enjoyed this.
Yeah, anyway, I feel like he's actually mentally degenerated quite a bit. I hate to have a Destiny take, but it's important to delineate a neo-Nazi from a brain-dead conservative who just wants less taxes. It's a good thing I delineate those two. Then. Yeah. Maybe when he says Foucault, he's referring to people who follow Foucault's philosophical framework and less than what Foucault himself actually believed. First of all, no. He directly said Foucault, not Foucault's followers. And second of all, even if he actually did believe that, he would still be wrong, because nobody believes that. Nobody believes that. His arguments are completely vacant. They don't make sense. The stuff that he's saying does not make sense. The arguments that he makes are self-contradictory. Even if you came into that video without being a leftist or a liberal or a progressive or whatever, a reasonably intelligent Christian conservative should be able to identify some very, very obvious internal contradictions in the logic that he presented. But they don't, because Jordan Peterson does not promote critical thought. He promotes dogmatism. And his audience, desperate as they are, follows along. Because, well, I don't know. Whatever's up with you, I guess. I love that JP gave lectures about this topic 30 years ago at Harvard, but a guy called Vosh thinks he can't even read. Yeah, it's pretty sad, isn't it? You'll notice that this is what we call a fallacious appeal to authority. The fact that Jordan Peterson has a degree doesn't defend him. It actually makes this more embarrassing. You realize that, right? When I'm pointing out, like, he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, and you're like, he's a PhD, what do you know? That's more embarrassing for him. I unironically believe that I am more philosophically educated than Jordan Peterson is. The only field in which I don't believe this to be the case would be his field, psychology. But he doesn't talk about psychology at his lectures. He talks history, philosophy, politics, sociology. Maybe you're misinterpreting his arguments or simply not engaging with them. The cope from Jordan Peterson followers is insane to me. Like, they don't actually have any, like, here are clear ways in which they're wrong. Maybe if I turn to page 682 on this book that he wrote in 1992, maybe I'll find something. There has to be something. YouTube videos. There has to be something. Like, oh my God, come on. Dude, look within, please. Jesus, come on. Look within for a second. He can't be wrong, so you must be misrepresenting him. Yeah, come on, please. Is Peterson informed on anything like actually impressively? He's a PhD in psychology, but he doesn't talk about psychology in his lectures. He talks about politics, to which he is obviously uninformed, consistently uninformed. You can say it's because he's an idiot, or you can say it's because he's a deliberate propagandist, whichever you think is better. Oh, whoops.
Heather bought requirement.
There we go. Uh-oh. Shit, do we have time for this red pill video? Fuck. Okay, wait. Quick dono run through. If you enjoy me making fun of Jordan Peterson fans, then you gotta like and subscribe, okay? We gotta get that boost, okay? If you don't have that sub button pressed, what are you doing with your life? Honestly, what even is, talk about maps to meaning, baby. Is life feeling empty? Does it feel like there's nothing for you right now? Click that sub button, baby. You can make it a pretty color. I think it goes from red to gray. Actually, it's a less pretty color. You know what? You can click. It's satisfying. You click the button, okay? That's what you do, all right? You stay subscribed. Number go up. Attach your self-worth to mine, okay? Imagine not being subdivided. And donate, all right? Server costs are expensive. Not so expensive that I can't easily afford them, but I want your money anyway. Too bad you spent half that segment arguing with Chad about the word fascist. Yeah, it's super frustrating because I don't like fixing on labels. The thing is, I said, do you understand why people can call Jordan Peterson a fascist? But people are so defensive about the labeling. And a lot of you really don't understand, like, what fascism really is or looks like. Because, not because you're dumb, because you're very smart boys. Fascism does not manifest just by a bunch of brown shirts marching down the street. If it was, then there would be nothing to it. It would be easily defeated. Fascism is enabled and made manifest by people who do not overtly identify by the label of fascism, but who nonetheless serve the aims of fascists. Like, fascism and ideological idiosyncrasy go together really, really well. Now, that doesn't mean he personally believes every fascist mantra. It only means that he enables and furthers those political positions. And he fits into a good number of Umberto Eco's 14 points, no? 1, the cult of tradition. Well, that's obviously something that Jordan Peterson fits into. Like, yeah, like pretty easily. The rejection of modernism. We just looked at that happening. The cult of action for action's sake. I think that's a little bit implied through what he says, but I don't think it's directly stated. Disagreement is treason. So the word treason here is used because we're talking about a fascist state with Umberto Eco's writings, but he has made the argument that disagreeing with him basically suggests that you're bigoted towards the groups that he advocates for. I mean, he just ended that bit with, you know, if you believe that a patriarchy exists, that must mean that you believe any sign of male achievement is actually despicable and evil and tyrannical. I would say that at least it pushes people towards this. Fear of difference, he does this constantly. Appeal to social frustration. Come on. Jesus. The obsession with a plot. You mean the postmodern neo-Marxists who have infiltrated academia that he constantly talks about? The enemy is both strong and weak. Western civilization has been stronger and better than ever before right now, but also it's on the brink of collapse thanks to Bill C-16 and postmodernists? Pacifism is trafficking with the enemy. He does not do this. Contempt for the weak. He doesn't really do this. Maybe a little implied through like conservative austerity, but he doesn't directly do this. Everyone is educated to become a hero. He does this. The obsession with individualism, the obsession with making everyone individually strong, and the supplantation of systemic solutions plays into the idea that everybody must be made an individual hero to protect Western civilization. Machismo and weaponry. It doesn't really fit in this context. Selective populism. I would say that his rallying cry for men fits a little bit within there. Speak equals newspeak. Or fascism equals newspeak. He doesn't imply, it doesn't employ any newspeak, but holy shit, this huge gibberish. I would say that he fits into enough of these to at least be suspect. He does have a disdain for women, no? He fucking absolutely has a disdain for women, yeah. Yeah, actually, never mind. Maybe not weaponry, but machismo. He constantly talks about like male dominance, women's subservience, so on and so forth. You know, he does fit into 12 for trans hate. Yeah, trans people as well. Yeah, cultural Marxism is newspeak, isn't it? Kind of. He doesn't do it too much though. Maybe he does. Maybe you could argue his newspeak is the whole Jungian like archetype, women, chaos, dragon, that kind of stuff. Instead of it being newspeak, it's like the flowery philosophical language. Just something to think about, man. Just think a little bit, okay? How many of these apply to me? The cult of tradition? Definitely not. The rejection of modernism? Definitely not. I'm super pro Enlightenment values. The cult of action for action's sake? Definitely not. I never move from my chair. Disagreement is treason? Definitely not. I fundamentally believe and advocate constantly for the idea that even if you disagree with what I say, you're one good argument away from being pushed over to what I believe. Fear of difference? Definitely not. I love diversity. I think that's a pretty clear... Except for the people I ban. Fuck you. Appeal to social frustration? I do this. I do this very, very much. And I stand by it. The obsession with a plot, I don't do this. My criticisms of the social forces that lead to these behaviors are largely sociological, not really about conspiracy or plot making. The enemy is both strong and weak. Our enemy is only strong, I'm afraid. Pacifism is tracking with the enemy. No, I think I've been pretty clear on the point that not everybody has to be some sort of crazy revolutionary super deity or whatever. Contempt for the weak? No. Everyone is educated to become a hero? No. Machismo and weaponry? All my machismo is highly ironic, okay? Thank you. Selective populism? My populism is holistic, all right? Workers of the world. I guess you could say it's not including the bourgeois, but all right, well, whatever. And as for newspeak, I don't use any new language, except for, I guess, the Nazbol vortex, but that's not newspeak. That's two existing words that I just put together. There we go. We get 1.5 out of 14. You're pronouncing machismo incorrectly, please? No. I'm only going to pronounce it worse from now on. Stay mad. All right, there we go. You say pog? Oh, shit. Wait, never mind. I newspeak like crazy. Pog, 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 pog. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Pog cringe, pog cringe, pog cringe. Hypers, yeah. Okay, gamer lingo isn't newspeak. Fuck all of you. Okay, let me run down a few donations, and then we're going to do this viral video from Think Before You Sleep, Why Men Are Refusing to Date, which starts with a clip from Steve Harley. We're going to have a great, great, great time here, learning why men are refusing to date, all right? First, let's read some donuts. Rivera Life, thank you for the incredibly kind $10 donation. Great coverage, tough topics. JP backed out of a debate with Richard Wolff. Theory plebes set up, and then a month later said on Joe Rogan, no lefties will debate me. Yeah, he complained on Twitter, no lefties will debate him. And then I showed up, and then like a bunch of people showed up, and nobody responded. He's a fucking pussy. Pussy little beta. Beta bitch boy. I hope my mic limiter is working okay, so that didn't blow out anyone's eardrums. Pinch Egg Ringo, thank you for the very kind $15. I have not seen the James Baldwin-William Buckley debate. Sorry, comrade, but I'd be happy to look into it. Annoyed Gamer and Sake Tanuki, thank you for the very kind $10 both. I really appreciate that. Every time you pause this, you can see the malice and hate in Ben's face. What a spiteful and hateful man. I don't know if his facial expressions are necessarily indicative of that, but I do think he's a very hateful person, yeah. Is it wrong that I now want Vosh's Coconut Island argument in his Kermit voice? We'll do that soon. Under the Thunder, thank you very much for the incredibly kind tier 4 sub. Are you still interested in learning more about music? No. That's okay. I still need to go back to the very long list that I've been ignoring for the past couple of months. We need to get back to that. I do not need any more music to listen to. Speedy Weenie, thank you for the gifted tier 1 sub. Maybe. Cautionary Taylor, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Really appreciate that. I agree. The Zionism discourse and the black nationalism discourse tend to have similar vibes. Geralt of Boring Trivia, Sather, and Kowalski from Nebraska, thank you for the incredibly kind $5 all. I really appreciate that. Kowalski, you don't have to ask for a Vosh interview with the Majority Report. You should go in for your own sake, comrade. Have you spoke to Shu about the whole Nosbo Vortex thing? I have not spoken to Shu about it, no. Not recently, unfortunately. Geralt of Boring Trivia, it's okay, I wasn't offended. St. Leibowitz, thank you for the $10. Vosh, I have at least an hour left of welding to do. Support a worker. Then why are you giving me money? I'll keep entertaining you, don't worry. Sky Shark and Alder, thank you both very much for the incredibly kind $15 donations. First of all, Sky Shark, congrats on being back in HRT. Happy to be here for that. And Alder, with the $15, I've played Hollow Knight on stream, you buffoon. I even beat the Pantheon of Hollow Nest. Thank you, though. Probably Snarking, thank you for the incredibly kind $20. Keeping the lights on, comrade. Thank you very much for paying for this month's electric bill. I appreciate that. You know, I was really roughing it, but you came through the last second. Greg versus the World and Karmapacat, thank you for the $5 both. What if we hooked up Milo Yiannopoulos with Gazi Kodzo? It would be great lolcow content, but they both want attention so badly, I'd rather just starve them of it, you know? Can you destroy Sagar in front of Crystal and Kyle? He deserves it, and I'd love to hear Crystal's BS response. It's really cowardly to attack a person who's not there, but I will definitely criticize Crystal Ball for the engagement she's had with Sagar. Shpao, thanks the $5 and for blocking the tweet with it. Raining Trees, thank you for the $5. I'll do more segments, comrade. Magic Melon, thanks the tier 1 sub. Brewologist, thank you likewise. And Jaya on the Skate, thank you for the tier 2 sub. Use this money to fix your stream. My stream is fine. Fuck you. Emena Micah, thank you for the very kind $10. Hey Vosh, I'm a pharmacy student and going to graduate soon. Love your vids and your content. Helped me out through the last year. Keep on going. Fuck yeah, comrade. Well, congratulations. Looks like you've got a lot of pog shit ahead of you. Sake Tanuki, thank you for the very kind $10. I think I give Kyle an appropriate amount of leeway. With the additional $10, you say, also, Kyle's audience would totally follow you instead if you dunked him into oblivion. If they like his single-level arguments, they'll love your 2+ levels. I don't necessarily think that's how fan bases work, but again, I'm not going in to dunk on or destroy anyone.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Just
Thank you very
refreshing
much.
the
Thank you.
page. Nope, click the wrong button. Nope, click the wrong button. There we go. Okay, I'll win. Thank you for the very kind $5. Vosh, intersectionality is important, but can easily turn into racism. Where is crime worse, a poor black community or a rich black community? What? Intersectionality includes class. You know that, right? I mean, I imagine a poor black community on average would have more crime. Guess. I don't know what that has to do with racism, though. Britmouse, thank you for the very kind $15. Thanks for the support, comrade. And Sake, with the $20, you were being incredibly generous today, and lately. You have to end both Cristobal and Kyle's career for the good of the left. They do way too much damage to our movement to be left alone. Okay. To quit propping it up, Sake, all right? We'll do what we can. Jesus. We'll have ourselves a fun conversation. My God. The Anonymous Ginger, Bo Jiden, and Skeppers, thank you for the gifted tier 1 subs. Ghost Demi and Sabali, thank you for the tier 1 subs both yourself. Mathlord 420 with the very kind tier 1 sub. Lumberjackin, thank you for the $5. Did my first politics in stream. Good to rip that band-aid off. Goddamn right. Thank you. Roses 25, you still working on the Super PAC fund? We dropped the Super PAC thing. It's going to be canvassing. That's how we'll be spending our money. Very, very good. Very, very fun. Oh, is that, do I see this on the website? The little cake day icon next to Eli Ali? So it's been 1 year since you created your website account? Oh, that's cute. Why Nervosa added a few days ago? Oh, that's cute. Stealing everything from Destiny? If it's cake day, wouldn't that be stealing it from Reddit? Adam friended us in YouTube chat. Want to bring him on? I don't know if we have time. What is there a debate? They're saying something? Observing. Observing, and I see nothing. Oh, they're there. What? I hate the fucking YouTube chat that I get on the back end. Adam, friend, I think we'll get a better answer from some of you who listen to his content. Oh, am I being asked a question? I'm trying to be so amicable here. God. I don't see anything anymore. Well, whatever. Did you see Adam's debate with Mouthy? He got rolled so hard. Mouthy is a competent rhetorician, though I do worry about his future a little bit. Let me close these tabs. Gosh, why? Oh, he's a filthy DGGer, of course. I have after the RGR thing. I wonder, like, if there's going to be some sort of schism or an effort to like abandon the optics and the advocacy for overt social, like socialist positions in favor of DGG clout. You know, but it's an infinitely recursive process that we'll see. I should probably do a better of keeping people in my community. I never actually have people on for funsies, so I don't really develop many friendships. Probably something that I should work on. It's good for consolidating a wall as well, you know, like the orbiting circle to protect. Anyway, we should probably. Wasn't there going to be a 300K call-in stream at one point? Well, it couldn't just be like random people. It'd have to be content creators, obviously. The goal, the force field, the Death Star. All right, we good to go? There are still donations to read, but we'll take a look at it in a second. Would you ever be willing to do a D&D stream? I used to do D&D streams, but no, not anymore, I don't think. 350K call-in fan stream when? Well, you have to get me to 350K first. I've actually been getting the same number of subs for the past couple months. I've just been losing so many because of all the fucking drama. You people are insufferable. But, well, I guess I shouldn't say you people because the people to whom I am referring are the people who left, but, yeah. Yeah, because you don't like sharing the spotlight. To be perfectly fair, my community is so parasocial that I'm pretty sure if I brought somebody else on to be the prominent focus for a while, like, all of the viewers would leave. I know how you people are. All right. Today, we learn the answer to an age-old question. Why men refuse to date? Got a large number of views. I think this Think Before You Sleep channel is like a MGTOW red pill type thing. And I was correct. The problem with female police officers. Men are tired of entitled women. False accuser puts innocent man in jail for 4 years. How feminists taught this generation to hate men. Wonder Woman isn't the hero of her own movie. Modern woman versus traditional housewife. The future of feminists. Feminism has been radicalizing people for years. Giving puberty blockers to children is child abuse. Why men don't want modern women. Survival, men versus... So, okay, it's a channel for people who really don't like women that much. Perfectly fine. See, it's not just a MGTOW or red pill thing because it's not necessarily about dating strategy. It just seems to be about how women kind of suck a little bit here. Is this 2015? Right? But these views, you know, people are watching this stuff. All right, let's do it. Let's learn. I'm gonna learn lots of good stuff today.
Heather bought me her list of requirements, so let's check them out. He must be between 30 and 45, financially stable, no kids, 5'10" or taller, no hookups or flings, ready to settle down, no roommates, no smoking, must love dessert and can't be anti-sugar. Must be honest, reliable, sweet and kind, quick-witted, romantic, must love food, must pay on the first date, No flowers on the first date.
What?
Must be a social drinker and must never wear sweatpants.
All right. So I see what's going on here. The setup here is that this lady has a lot of standards for dating a person, and that will be used as the sort of template for the rest of this video. Now, because I'm a normal human being, I'm looking at this and I'm just thinking, oh, that seems like rather a lot. Okay. And then I never think about it again. If you ever watch any reality TV show, especially dating shows, you'll realize that they are a nonstop cavalcade of the absolute dredges of humanity. People with insane standards, people who are spewing red flags in every direction, who can't see any in other people. It's of men and women. So I guess we're just picking like one random woman of the billions on Earth, and like this one dating reality show television contestant will be the model for which we judge all women, I guess. Not all of these are unreasonable, by the way. If you're in your 30s, I don't think it's unreasonable to want a financially stable partner. No children. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people want that. I know a lot of men would ask that the same of women. I think that women are pretty selective when it comes to men's height. So I don't know. It's at least it's not like 6'4" or taller, you know? No hookups or flings. I think that's a reasonable expectation to look at. Must be ready to settle down. I mean, I hope y'all like date and kiss first, you know? No roommates. If you're going for a guy in their 30s, I think it's fine to not want them to have roommates. Non-smoker, totally fine. I don't want to date a smoker. Must love desserts, based. Can't be anti-sugar. Yeah, cool, you know? Must be honest, reliable, sweet and kind, quick-witted, romantic. Must love food. Okay. I mean, I guess I'd like partners who are like this as well. The only things here that I think are really objectionable are the must pay on the first date, because that's some cringe tradcon bullshit, and must never wear sweatpants. Yeah, the must never wear sweatpants thing. Oh, I don't know about that. All right, I mean, apart from, and now I guess Harvey's going to do something where he's like, this is too many. You're dumb. You suck. This is too many. Here, date this guy. And then he just pulls a guy out of the audience or something.
Sweatpants. Okay, well, we got some more requirements, but we don't have no more room.
Uh-oh.
This is Heather, and she has a list of over 50 requirements that she expects her boyfriend to have. Now, many of the women in the audience...
Oh, wait, hold on. All right, hold on. My sympathy for this woman is waning slightly. Can't be a gamer. I'm red-pilled now. I'm red-pilled now. Send her away. Goodbye. Go. Out. Go. Favorite season can't be fall? That's the bottom right here. Okay. So this is just like one crazy lady. I don't think most women are like... okay, let's just hear the arguments. I'm preempting too much. Just go. Go. Video. Go.
Audience laugh at her during this segment, but I imagine that if they were asked about their requirements, they would have a list very similar in length.
No, I don't think this is typical woman behavior. Actually.
Despite her low value, Heather expects to get her perfect 10 out of 10 guy who can meet all 50 or more of her requirements, and she wonders why she's single. Just for comparison, I bet I can sum up what most men want in just 3 things. She must be attractive, she can't be a bitch, and she must be a good housewife. By the way,
there's a lot to bite in here, you know? First of all, if you have ever, even for a moment in your life, browsed men talking about women, no. Men have a lot of have you, no, come on. Is the guy who made this video like 6 years old? Have you ever talked with like guys? No. Also, these 3 points are like 3 big summary points that can be broken down into like 87, because what's attractive to me probably isn't attractive to you. I'm guessing that you're one of those tradwife types. So to me, piercings and dyed hair can be attractive. So you must then say, must not have dyed hair, must not have piercings, must not have tattoos, can't be a bit. What does a bitch mean? You probably mean can't question me in any way, can't be taller than me, can't make me feel emasculated by working more than me, can't like, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What does it mean to be a good housewife? And then there's like 78 points down there. Like, yeah, you've kind of summed up you could sum up all of her things into probably like 2 or 3 points if she was to be super reductive as well.
Way, there are guys out there who will date all types of physical appearances, so this is really mostly an issue of personality. As for Heather, let's calculate some numbers. She wants a 10 out of 10 guy, and for the sake of argument, let's start her off as if she were a 10.
Okay.
Something that is immediately
Wait, why do we care so much about this one woman's unreasonable set of standards? He gave the game away in the first nanosecond when he was like, yeah, I bet all the women in the audience are exactly like this. Like, all right, coming in here with a bit of baggage yourself, huh? What if you met your perfect trad wife girl and one of her requirements was no creepy baggage from like a soy smelling Cheeto dust stained weirdo, and then they had to turn you down, you know?
noticeable is that Heather has crazy eyes, and that takes off at least 2
They're fine?
points. Now she's an 8.
Okay.
I don't know her age, but she looks very close to 30, and that knocks another point off her score. In her requirements...
See, this is how it works, okay? If you're any older than 14, you get a point knocked off. This is very strange.
She says that a man cannot be against sweets because she owns a dessert business, and he must love food.
Okay.
Why are those requirements? Because she needs an excuse to get fat. She already...
Dog. How are you coming out looking like the unreasonable one here? This woman owns a dessert business? Of course she wants a partner who likes dessert. Why would... If she owned a library, wouldn't she want a partner who likes reading? No, actually. The reason why she wants you to like reading is so you can read books while she cucks you by fucking big black stallions with fat, meaty cocks that you don't have. Like, holy crap, how much insecurity can you read into some shit? Oh my god.
She looks like she's gained weight and is trying to hide it.
What?
Her dress is not form-fitting, and it has a seam at her belly button, which forces the fat rolls down so that she doesn't get a muffin top.
What?
Be aware that women have all kinds of tricks to hide how fat they are.
All kinds of deception that they can employ on you. All kinds. Always be wary at all times.
Key giveaway is the size of her arms. That right there knocks off a minimum of 1 point. Probably more
she just
in the
looks
future.
like... Is this deceptive? I feel like I can imagine basically how fat she is from looking at her. She didn't come in here in like an inflatable bouncy suit or something. Is this a joke?
Now she's a 6. Last, she has a frosting business, which means that either she is going to be gone all the time so the kids in the home aren't going to be taken care of,
oh my
or
god,
she's going to expect you to dole out the cash and float her failing business.
I was joking about it earlier, but yeah, for him, one of his don't be a bitch points would also be, don't make me feel like a loser by making more money than me.
That's -2 points.
-2?
So she wants a guy who is...
Having a job as a woman is -2 points.
The 10 out of 10, when she at best is a 4.
Oh, shit.
Guys, let me get...
But what if the guy she meets likes plump women, likes women who work, and likes women who have a lot of culinary skill because he likes eating lots of food? Maybe desires are a little subjective? Because for me, if I were to date a person who owned a business and worked hard at it, that would not be -2 points for me. Or maybe there's some sort of objective standard that you're somehow adhering to that just works for you, you know?
Get one of the pillars over here. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's see. Must be adventurous, must be humble, must be spontaneous, must be a planner.
Those two seem to contradict each other a little bit.
Can't be self-centered, can't be cocky, must love dogs, can't own a dog from a breeder, can't be jealous of her dog.
When they fuck. Because white women, you know.
And can't own a cat. The hell, what?
Heather wants her man to be spontaneous and unpredictable.
Wait, is this video really gonna be, like, I thought this was a joke. Is this video really going to be this one woman from a dating reality television show has unreasonably high standards? This is why men don't want to date any women anymore. That's actually going to be it? Couldn't I find, like, a really weird guy from some dating show? There are tons of insane dudes all over the place on these dating shows. and be like, this is why men don't deserve to have sex with women anymore. Look at this, look at that, look at that. Like, do we do that? This is really weird.
How is he supposed to do that when she has micromanaged him down to the exact person he has to be? There's no room for surprises because he might ruin the relationship by admitting that his favorite season
it's unreasonable.
is fall.
I'm the founder and CEO of my own frosting company.
That's nice.
Wow, look at those.
Wait, frosting company, not a bakery? So she doesn't actually have like a storefront then. It would just be like distribution, or I don't really know. I hope it's tasty.
Those titles. Founder and Chief Executive Officer.
Nice.
Why? Because you're the only employee? I can't
No. It's actually really common for founders to also be the chief executive. What? What? Founder and CEO? You've never heard that term before? What?
imagine working for a control freak like her, where everything about a person needs to be to her liking, down to the exact detail.
Yeah, she seems a bit controlling.
Look at this. She has 4 different rules on dogs.
Yeah.
He has to be a dog lover, but he can only adopt shelter dogs.
She was brought onto a television show specifically because she was unreasonable in this respect. How is this?
You're like a vegan who attacks other vegans for not being vegan enough. People who are being managed hate it when you give them 30 different things to do.
I'm sure she appreciates the advice.
Nothing is going to get done. By comparison, she has more rules specifically about dogs than most men do about the entire relationship.
Okay.
Is this what women consider healthy?
What do you... Wait, she's on a television program where the point of the segment is mocking her for being overly specific. This is what... Like, hold on. Let me just find a dude. Let me just find any dude, okay? Dude, poor fashion. This is all based fashion. What am I looking at right now? Hold on. Shabby dude. Come on, give me something here. Apparently a dude is also a type of dresser. Shabby man. Look at this guy. Look at this guy right here. Is this... You really think women are gonna date when all men are exactly like this? Alcoholic. Look at those 4. Let's say we start off at a 10. Okay? Let's say we start off at a 10. All right? First of all, look at how parallel those forehead wrinkles are as he furrows his brow. Not a good skin genetic set right there. That's a -2 points. Okay? That hair is not going to be there in 15 years, and this dude's at least 40. That's -3 points. We've got a clear case of alcoholism here. What woman would want that? That's another -2 points. We're dealing with the third, and he's already married. Why would a girl want to marry a guy when he's already married? That's crazy. -2 points. Now we're at a 1, but we're not done yet. What is this bare concrete wall behind him? Is he poor? -2 points. -1 point. What is with this ear shape? What is this, fucking Keebler? The Keebler king? Fucking lamenting his lost glory as his 3 sons overtook his kingdom? -6 points. -7. This is every man. Every man. Okay, can we... I think we've done the bit.
The way you actually manage people, and this goes for everyone, is to keep rules simple, but to pick rules that are important enough to encompass multiple things.
She's
so
unreasonable.
When a man says
we
he
know.
wants a woman that's attractive, what does attractive mean? I can tell you from me that it means she can't be fat, she can't have tattoos, she can't have...
I was right. I was completely right. Dude, you can read this guy like the fucking fact in the underside of a Snapple can. Well, that's not my attractive, so I guess you're gonna... So now you're listing more points right now. Because if somebody just says, I want an attractive GF, and they show up looking like a punk rocker, you'd be like, no, an attractive GF. And people be like, yeah, attractive GF, dumb fuck. Also, elbow's way too pointy on this one.
Any weird piercings? What does it mean to be a good housewife? It means she has to be home.
You're listing more points.
To be able to cook.
He's breaking his own rule, remember? He said, I have only 3 points. Every man is only 3 points. But now that you actually describe what they mean rather than using incredibly vague generalities, it's actually like 60 points, you know?
It means she has to be able to clean, and it means she has to be good with kids. Those two
What does it
rules
mean to be
and
good
the
with
third
kids?
cover a lot of areas, and what they do is allow the details that are unsaid to be positively interpreted by the other person.
Oh, I see. So maybe that woman should have just had 1 point, one rule for the husband, and it was actually be a cool guy. And she's like, yeah, you know, just like infer all the rest of the stuff. Because this guy didn't mention a lot of stuff. This guy didn't mention age. This guy didn't mention whether or not they already had kids. This guy didn't mention hair color. This guy didn't mention height. This guy didn't mention body proportions. This guy didn't mention kindness, deference, attitude towards traditional values. But I bet he believes it. This guy didn't mention something that I know he cares about, which is whether or not they've had sex with a black man in the past.
When you give them that freedom, they often think of something better than what you thought of, and because they thought of it, they will own it and work harder to achieve that positive thing.
Damn, what a
By giving someone an exhaustive list, you are just saying, I am always right, and I don't trust your ability to think and make decisions. So when you treat people like that, don't be surprised that they can't think or make good decisions. People like to discover things for themselves.
Nobody's
which is
defending
why most
this
people
woman.
hate it when you spoil a movie. They want mystery in which is why most people hate it when you spoil a movie.
I thought he said, which is why women hate it when you spoil a movie, which I was about to go like, holy shit, dude.
They want mystery in how a good interaction should occur with the person they are talking to. When you give someone a list of 50 rules, there is no room to explore, and that's bad for both parties. If you are a man and you follow every asinine rule on that list, then she will get bored because there's nothing about you to discover.
Yeah, okay. How much of this is just on her? The whole thing is on her. The Steve Harvey never stops. Oh my God. Wait, can we skip around a little?
And you will get, because if it does, you will.
I gave to him.
Did you?
Well, I mean, my dog never fought with me.
Your dog doesn't fight with you because if it does, you won't feed it. That's clearly what she wants, a slave. And that's why men are kicking her to the curb. If she wanted a real relationship, like she claims she does, then the question she should be asking is, what did I do?
This guy projects so much shit onto everything she says. Dude, this reminds me of the skeptic anti-Anita Sarkeesian videos. That's what this reminds me of, dude. It's so fucking funny. It's just every sentence, every word, they're like cram the most uncharitable possible meaning into it. But this has over 1 million views, man. What do the comments look like on this? Okay, so here's our good or bad. It's okay to make comments criticizing the girl in this video within reason, because it does seem like she's fairly unreasonable. We'll see what else we can get. Requirements for most guys. Looks good, can cook, empties balls, chill person to be around. I'm surprised that this guy's parents let him have a smartphone at this age. Jesus. I really wish I could get some kind of magic like device that would allow me to see the age of all the people leaving these comments, because I know what they are. Do men ever get, hey guys, men, do you ever get tired of making this comment over and over and over again? Women say we need to be tall, but then we say they need to be skinny and they get mad. Do you ever get tired of, do we have like a slew of bots online that just type this into every single fucking comment section underneath any piece of media on men and women? Are these all the comment sections? They're all like bragging that they have low standards. Is this healthy? Like over and over again, this 20,000 likes, heart from the video creator itself. Must be 5'10" or taller. As a 6'1" male, I think it's ironic that women ask for a tall man but get offended when men prefer a woman to be under 200 pounds. Yeah, it is. But you're not brave for saying it, dude. If a woman's super cunty about a guy being short, then fuck it. You can be cunty about her being fat if you want, okay? Fuck it. Whatever. you're on Tinder and someone gives you shit for that, then go for it. I don't care. But like, you're not brave. You're not being brave right now. Okay? This is such soy bullshit, dude. You're like, I was. These are like the like this really happened comments. And like, I was in front of a land whale approached me in real life, and she said, "What? You're not even 6'8". Be gone from my presence, shorty." And she tried to waddle past, but then I looked down at her and I said, "You're fat." And she started crying. She cried. Like, oh my God, stop. Jeez. You're taking me back to 2011 YouTube, and I don't want to go back, okay? The internet's better than it was back then. Then everyone stood up and clapped, and then a hot Stacy broke up with her boyfriend and then jerked me off in front of all of them, and they all got a facial or something. I don't know. It's like, Jesus. Like, I know people are cunty about men being short. It's shitty. It is a thing that a lot of women do, and it is shitty, okay? Just stop acting like you're a fucking Holocaust survivor for it. Fuck me, dude. You're so... People who point this out act like they're fucking Socrates. Like they're fucking Galileo. Like they're some truth sayer. Like the Catholic Church is on their heel and they're like, "Hey, by the way, you shouldn't be shitty about men. You're fat." Like they run past the microphone. They're like, "Yeah, okay." Jeez. It's YouTube comments. What do you expect? It's everywhere. It's everywhere. They all think they're making like super salient contributions to the discourse. It's so soy. I'm soying right now.
To make him jealous of my dog.
Okay, the dog. We get it. White women. Okay, hold on. Wait, let's learn. Uh-oh. Is this another lady getting involved?
I work very hard, very responsible.
A single mother, and she calls herself responsible.
Oh, yeah! This guy projects so hard. This woman stands up to criticize the woman that he's been laying into, and this guy, this probably like 14-year-old who runs the account, crosses his arms. You claim to be single. I'm sorry, responsible. Single mother. I bet that if she had brought a mixed race kid, oh God, I fucking know this guy's a racist.
I wouldn't say that, but okay.
But
can I learn more about this guy? These aren't actual arguments, so I feel like the best route is to ad hom like crazy. Hold on. Do we get any info? Or is this another pussy account from people who don't show their face but make fun of other people on the internet? You know, the absolute dredges of human society, okay? Yeah, the leafy style. Yeah, it's also the reason why No Bullshit, by the way, didn't make their face like a publicly available accessory to their videos for the longest time while they were screaming about other people being ugly, fat, and beta males, you know? Like, there's a reason why, when people don't give you faces, there's usually a reason why. Sometimes it's to preserve privacy, but in my experience, especially with content like this, it's usually for another reason. All right.
I get the typical blonde, big boobs, tattoos.
That is quite the
That's how
accent.
guys kind of see me. And, you know, I have a really huge personality, like really big. Sometimes it's like, my mom's like, you need a filter. But that's just how I am.
Right.
All right. What deranged shit are we about to get today?
A huge personality.
Okay. We're gonna call her fat. All right. That's all. Yeah, we know, buddy. We know you're not a truth teller. We get it. We know she's fat. We can see. No, did she say? Here's what I don't get. Did this woman ever claim she was skinny? Did she ever say that? So if she was like, I'm a skinny, fit, ripped, athletic goddess, and she wasn't, then maybe point that out because there's some hypocrisy present there, or, you know, because she comes off looking delusional, if that's the case. But yeah, we get it. She's like chubby or like fat. I don't know. Whatever. Okay? We get it?
Maybe it's just me, but I've noticed this behavior a lot in women. Women love to display their negative traits as a positive.
What? She said she had a big personality. She did. What?
I have a huge personality, and that's just the way I am. I'm really honest, upfront, and people just can't seem to handle my honesty.
Wait. She didn't say that. Did she say that? We just heard her talk. I don't remember her saying that. She just said she had a big personality. What if she said What if she had a big personality and she knew it put some people off, but she didn't care because she wanted to be honest and forthcoming to herself?
Hello? That's not a good thing. If you have a personality that is turning people away, then by definition, you have a bad personality.
Dog. How are you doing IRL, by the way? Can we have a face down? Can we have a face-to-face chat? Because I gotta wonder, because man, I haven't met you in person, but you come off like a really weird and bitter guy. Because like she didn't say shit about her weight, but then you were like, she's fat. Like you come off pretty mean-spirited, you know? This you, bro? So how are you doing, actually? This guy probably doesn't think men should have a good personality, though. He probably doesn't think that's a requirement because that would instantly excise him.
She's even stated that people have warned her about her personality, and she has refused to listen.
People have said that I have a big personality. What? And? Wait, but I also have a big personality, and I've also been told to, like, keep it in line from time to time. And now I'm a rich and successful internet e-boy because I didn't do that. So maybe life is more complicated? Slightly? And half the internet hates you? Yeah, good. I love it.
When women say things like, I have a huge personality, that's just code for, I'm a bitch.
Oh, I see. When women say the article a or the, or when they use a pronoun such as I or you, what they really mean is, I will falsely accuse you of rape and lie to the police and say you engaged in domestic battery against me when we get in an argument over who was supposed to take out the trash this evening. Stay woke, fellas. Don't fall for their schemes, okay?
I guess my main thing is...
Let me just skip for it. It's so stupid.
She knows that if she has those standards, all the guys are going to pass.
Wait, hold on.
Sana, the reason you're not getting invited out on dates is because you won't create the persona that you're special. You just won't appear special enough because you're so busy being funny as hell, so busy being this light to the world.
It should be noted, by the way, that Steve Harvey is the last human being who should ever give advice regarding dating or women or anything. Steve Harvey is a fucking loony. Yeah. With also assault allegations. And harassment. Wait, was it assault or harassment? Sued for harassment. Sorry, not assault. He's on his third marriage too. Ooh, curious. Isn't Steve Harvey the Family Feud guy? Yeah, I'm just saying he's not exactly a role model when it comes to like anything like this.
Come on, Steve. She knows that if she has those standards, all the guys are going to pass because she doesn't have very much value as a 40-year-old overweight tattooed single mother. When you don't have a lot of value, you can't make demand.
Even, by the way, even if you took all of this guy's lunatic claims at face value, I feel like, personally, if I was a woman and I had a given personality, I think I would rather live my life authentically as a person who is maybe a bit abrasive or obnoxious in public, which I am as a man, by the way, than like break my back trying to fit into a box given to me by open misogynists. You know, like these aren't the standards I should probably be trying to meet.
Her having high standards is like a minimum wage employee saying to his boss, I don't like being paid minimum wage. If I don't get paid $50 an hour, then I'm not going to work here.
Based.
Okay, you're fired. You aren't worth $50.
No, you're not fired because this kid was smart and unionized beforehand. You're going to fire your whole fucking store? Shut your workplace down for weeks and weeks? Nope, we're collective bargaining now. $50 an hour and 52 weeks paid vacation every year. Stay woke, people.
An hour. That's what she wants. She wants a six-figure salary Romeo when at best, all she can do is be a sugar mama for a 20-year-old guy who works at McDonald's. And it's not like she was born that way.
What's actually really interesting to me is that nothing in this video actually contains advice. See, women don't watch this video. Why would they? This video exists exclusively for men to seethe and cope over their perception of how unreasonable women are. Because the men who watch this video aren't having the most success in their own dating lives, so what they want to do is see women struggling too, and then to blame women for their own failings, and they don't really connect it that they're at fault for their own unlovability as well. But that's what this video is for. That's the only reason this video exists. It's so you can seethe and cope, you know? That's it. You just fucking women, like that kind of shit, you know?
From how she describes herself, she was
This is an example of incels, right? This would be the type of media they would consume, yeah.
probably born attractive and then became unattractive through bad decisions that she states she is not willing to change.
Post face. Post face. Come on, post face. I disagree with this even if the person making this video is a Chad, but I want to see post face. Also, yeah, born attractive.
She's not willing to change her huge personality that turns people off, and very likely she is not willing to lose weight.
Here's a question, by the way. First of all, you've no idea whether or not she has any opinions on her weight. You're completely inferring that from nothing. You're pulling that out of your ass. Second of all, would you change everything about your personality to appeal to a woman, my dude? No, you probably wouldn't, would you? Because you're different. You're in the right place. You're the special one. They need to come over to you, right?
Oh, you're a single mother? Wow, you must work.
I think we got to pretty much all the content. Kitties.
That doesn't work. That's called manipulation. And even if it does work, it will always backfire because eventually the person is going to realize that you have no value. Oh, wait, this chick cares more about her dog than she does about me? Bye. If people don't naturally want to engage with you, they don't want to be your friend, if they aren't jumping to trust you with certain tasks or give you opportunities or listen to your ideas, it's because you aren't compelling them. Now, a part of that could be that you haven't properly placed yourself in an area where you're valuable.
Where do these people live? Like in their minds? Like where are their minds at? If they think that dating has anything to do with assessing your point value and comparing it to the people you... Okay, look. Just here's some advice to everyone. Are you ready for it? Okay? Whether you're a guy or a girl, you live in college, let's say you're in college, okay? There's no such thing as a point system at all, okay? There are some very ugly guys who are boning some really hot girls. That is a thing that happens, and vice versa, okay? Love does what love wants. Sometimes people want a life partner, sometimes people just want a comfy, funny person. It's crazy, okay? I don't know what's going on over there. But like, there are people... I had friends in college, okay? Now, I can't say this about myself because I'm a giga chat, of course. You can see naturally from my rippling 4% body fat physique that I have nothing to do with this. But I had friends in college, and some of them were... These guys were... I mean, they weren't conventionally attractive, okay? But these non-conventionally attractive guys, they weren't drug dealers. They didn't have like some weird economic edge. They were just dudes who told jokes, same as me. And they were getting the fuck around. I mean, I'm not talking like getting a pity hand job after like a failed date. I'm talking like deep, raw fucking anal behind the dumpster before class because they wanted it that bad. I'm talking full engagement, okay? We're talking, we're full engagement presently, okay? So the idea that like you should be like calculating your brain worth sexual marketplace level in order to maximum optimize. No, just fucking talk to people who you want to talk to, okay? Jesus. You're going to be disappointed from time to time. I mean, not everyone's going to like you back, but like, holy Christ. This road that we're watching right now does not lead you anywhere, okay? This is a dark road. It will take you down a dark path. It will make you feel very miserable. Do not follow this road. Okay? Are we done? What's the conclusion?
That happens.
Come on.
Magically, you will start attracting better people who don't act like these women from the Steve Harvey show. But with that said, that will be enough for this video. If you liked it, hit the like button.
What a slide to end on. Jesus. All right, nice memes. We did it. Well, that was pretty sad. I'd like to talk to that guy. But, you know. Do more of these videos. They're hilariously cringy. They're pretty bad, aren't they? All right, what's this clip somebody gave? based and left-pilled from Destiny.
So Israel is bad and evil and horrible because they're with America, and Palestine is good and righteous and awesome because they're not America. There we go. Pretty easy. We can do foreign policy analysis from a lefty point of view all day long.
What did I say earlier this stream? You got remember the exact thing that I said? Spite defines himself by position. Yeah. Break up with Destiny? Oh, I don't have any respect for him anymore. I think that he's like completely delusional now. He's so obviously perpetually seething about the left. He'll break every standard of like of like engagement or rhetoric or rigor when it comes to talking with them. He pushes it like it's a joke, how mad he gets. It's not a joke. He gets actually seething over leftists, like legitimately mad. Sometimes over like nothing. He just thinks about them all the time, which is like really sad. It was funny, but like now it's influencing his ability to actually understand the world around him. So, I mean, whatever. He'll have in and out cycles, but we're done with Destiny. I don't have any intention of humoring him in the future. He just molds now? Yep, well. Oh, wait, even his subreddit agrees. Jesus. Very, very nice. Oh. Very cool to see he's so deft at reconstructing the worldview of his ideological opponents. Really hope there's more to this position than just spiting the left. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh, this is clearly a meme. Well, half defending, half criticizing, whatever. I mean, it's clearly a meme, right? But you guys were a great duo last year, though. Well, Destiny's criticisms against conservatives will always be salient. The issue is it's even started to infiltrate the conservative arguments, too. Now when he argues with conservatives, he tries to build bridges with them over how much he hates the left, too, which is like, shit. Like, he's even thinking of lefties when he's arguing with, like, conservatives. Like, it's like he tries to build bridges over that. It was just kind of pathetic because it's never going to work. Do you think conservatives or fascists are actually motivated by a dislike of the crazy lefties? No, they hate liberalism and progressivism. All it makes you do is look like a suck-up when you're like, I hate the crazy... Imagine if I had a conversation with Ben Shapiro, and I was like, yeah, the crazy people on the left are crazy, but we need to work, like, center solutions. Like, no. Wow. There are, of course, some people on the left that are worthy of constant criticism, and that I'm fine distancing myself from, but... That's not a broad denunciation of the left. That's just like, you need to point out which elements of what are more worthwhile, or, you know. Do you think Destiny's broken like Glenn Greenwald? Ooh, that's actually a good question. Do you think that Destiny's going to go down a Glenn Greenwald-esque position where the initial work was incredibly impressive, but then, like, slowly as time goes on, their positions... So Glenn Greenwald ended up just being a Republican. Like, right now, he's just a Republican, okay? That's what he is, okay? I don't think he would ever go that far. But the more and more you begin to define yourself by the things you hate... It's funny, he used to give advice about not doing that to people, but the more you define yourself as the opposite of the things that you hate, the more likely it is you fall in with a bad crowd. So, you know. Glenn Greenwald is really, really far past, though. We have to finish with donations, don't we? Why is Destiny obsessed with Demon Mama? I have no idea, but it's super fucking cringy. He even drops in on panels when Demon Mama's in there. I know that a lot of the people in my community don't necessarily care for Demon Mama's rhetorical approach, which, fine, you're right. But, like, he'll like, drop in on panels to like, harass her, you know? His subreddit posts about her, like, pretty constantly. Yeah. Gaz Pork Industrial, thank you for the incredibly kind $20. Doesn't it seem like Jordan Peterson is railing against second wave feminism talking points without recognizing that feminism isn't about that stuff anymore? Well, I don't think it's just second wave feminism. He couldn't even accurately clarify or qualify what that is, I don't think. It's just the concept of progressivism, ultimately, that I think he's opposed to. Cowboy Dandy, thank you for the very kind tier 1 sub. Thank you for the kind words, comrade. I really appreciate them. Oh yeah! And if you enjoy the wonderful stream content, then you'd better fucking show it, comrade, with some goddamn YouTube subscription. Hit the button, the like bell, the bell like button, the button bell. Hit that button like the bell, to subscribe. got him. Nailed that. Vendetta and Deflation, thank you for the tier 1 subs both. I really, really appreciate that. Yes, Dr. Phil is a piece of shit. And congrats, 4 months on HRT. Good shit. Under the Thunder, thank you for the gifted tier 1 sub. Why do MIG towers always automatically assume that all men are hyper-dominant, traditionally masculine assholes? Well, they don't, because they're not that. Most of the MGTOW types are actually really meek and socially incompetent. They want to be that themselves, so they project that desire onto all of humanity. Under the Thunder and Vibrant Pico, thank you for the $5 both. Invader Blue, thank you for the tier 2 sub. Really appreciate that, comrade. Finally, formally advanced PhD candidacy today. Nice! Good luck with the PhD stuff. You've got a lot of work out of you. Val Hrafnaz, thank you for the very kind tier 2 sub. I got close enough to getting your name right. Shut the fuck up. Mr. Mellon and Rex Viola County, thank you for the tier 1 sub both. I really, really appreciate that. My friend's been trying to get me to join a, quote, amazing lefty org lately. Was considering till I entered your stream and learned they were creating an ethno-state. The Black Hammer group? You had a friend pushing you to join the Black Hammer group? That's really funny. You should make sure to get on in their, Mao tier. I assume you're white because, we're all whiteys here. Yeah. Do the reparation, the Mao level, you were. What do you think about the future of feminism? The backlash against this we just saw seems to really damage it. No, the same backlash against feminism happened the first and second waves too. You think it wasn't worse back in the suffragette days or back in the 60s? No. They're always mad about something. Prinny Wesker, thank you for the $5. My standards begin and end with "can crush my skull like a grape." Where the fuck is my Steve Harvey interview? He'd probably call you a beta male. Sake Tanuki, with the 2 consecutive $10 donations. Thank you very, very much. You did okay, buddy time. I tend to be more generous when you do the most effective method of pushing audiences left. Nice! Well, I have to do it again soon then. Really keep up with the discourse this time, you know? I might Martin WW. Yeah, Jin Shirish. There was an issue there. Kinox, thanks to the tier 1 sub. Pessimist with the $10. 8D5D2D Derek with the tier 2 sub. Thank you very much. You got to give Jordan Peterson credit for one thing. His fashion sense is way better than Zizek's. Zizek fucks way more than Jordan Peterson does, okay? Because Zizek's like sloppy Slovenian meat monster aesthetic is just, that's all women want, okay? All women want to fuck a disgusting, slobby philosopher while he eats hot dogs over their naked body, okay? This is true. This is true. It's true. Women are disgusting. Yeah, but, Rainer, thank you for the very kind $10. How do you get people to come on your show? I love to come onto it and suck your dick with my words. I'm afraid that we don't do call-in dick sucking anymore. Maybe one of these days. I should do a call-in stream eventually. Can we get more emotes, please? Yeah, maybe. The LDC and Windleby Dazzler, thank you for the $5 both. Really appreciate that. Yeah, we might be taking a look at Florida tomorrow. We'll see. Excuse me. Sake with the $10. Yang doubling down faster than KFC. Oh, I saw this. So Ted Cruz supports Yang. David Miller. Andrew Yang is confronted in Astoria by passerby upset over his pro-Israel tweet. He calls conflict in the Middle East heartbreaking, but does not condemn the Israeli airstrikes. His public schedule today previously included a stop to distribute groceries in Astoria ahead of Eid, but it was removed. He said organizers asked him not to come. Oh no, that's not gonna look good. Yoiks. That's a yoikers moment, I like to refer to. PHP Tanker, thank you for the very kind tier 3 sub. We will be talking to Klinsky soon. Don't you worry, comrade. Thank you very much. Under the Thunder and Rex Viola County, thank you for the $5 both. I really, really appreciate that. And yeah, of course, Under the Thunder. Good, Rex Viola County. Bring all Black Hammer org members over to Voshism. Lava Monster and Sapine Guitar Pick, thank you for the tier 1 subs. Really appreciate that. Look at this absurd but strangely adorable Japanese ad for RE Village. I think this is probably, yeah, I'm afraid this is probably going to be a copyright. Then again, well, that's probably all I can get away with before copyright monsters come to steal my channel away, but I think we can all agree that this is an excellent advertisement. We all agree. It's good. It's good. I must go now. We're finishing up stream after I finish with donos. Saki Tanuki, thank you for $10. Oh, that's from yesterday. Thayless, thanks to the tier 2 sub. The Magic Socialist with very kind $10. Pearson with the $5. And oh, I saw that one. Sugapple, thank you for the very kind donation. Henry the Quester, thank you for the $5. I'm sorry that your Mother's Day could have gone better. Bo Jiden, thank you for the gifted tier 1 sub. Machines Attack, thank you for the 666. Been watching your streams on the weekends I have with my 10-year-old daughter. Thanks to the content. Happy to entertain you, or possibly you both, comrade. Mooncow with $15. What do you think of Kyle's point that woke language is insular and pragmatically harmful to the left? The generalization is dumb, but I can see his point. Yeah, some types of language. I've been critical of that type of stuff before. Have you seen me take down Robin DiAngelo? My issue isn't with the defense of woke language. My issue is with the abandonment of intersectionality as a concept. I'm very, very suspicious of people whose language trends them in the direction of stating that, you know, the working class, yeah, like working class whites, they're the people we need to bring onto socialism. Well, it's true we need to bring the working class over. The working class is multiracial. Oh, shit. AOC is calling out Yang. Oh my God. That is a rough one right there. Holy crap. Utterly shameful for Yang to try to show up to an aid event after sending out a chest-thumping statement of support for a strike killing 9 children, especially after his silence in Al-Aqsa was attacked. But then to try that in Astoria during Ramadan, they will let you know. Ooh, ooh, shit. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Bungie Boy, thanks to the tier 1 sub. Schleppen Life with the $5. Enjoy this piece of shit drawing I did during your Shapiro segment. Oh, that's funny. As you can see, this is the closest I'll come to debating these two dumb fucks. Absolutely. Dude, I think Ben Shapiro... What's the name of the Zelda rap god? What's the guy's name? Morshu? Yeah, Ben Morshu. Yeah, such good shit. I love this. I'm adding this. This is going in a folder. My fan art folder. Sake Tanuki, thank you for the very kind $10. True! Quoteth with the $5. Can you explain Zionism being anti-Semitic? Oh, I think I got to that after this. Nice try, Sake Tanuki, but you're not getting me banned again. LNRD, thank you for the tier 2 sub. Please put these funds towards the establishment of an Artemy cam. We need to know what the Chungus is up to. Also, baby. Baby! Ba-ba-ba, baby. Multiple babies, even. Dunkin' Donuts, baby. Ooh. Feet. Torn up. The Panther paper shredder, yes, he did all of that. What a terrible baby. Extra baby. This one looks like a lion. Oh, look. Extra toe bean. Extra thumb bean. See? Polydactyl. Extra beans. Pretty poggers. Trans girl therapist, the $5. Please share this with your stream. I think people need to know about alt-right therapists and how to avoid them. This is an hour-long video. It has 200 views. Oh, it's from you. I see. Well, I can't officially endorse any of the shit that you have to say because I can't speak to the quality of any of this information. But you're in my chat, so how bad can you be? Chat, go look at this video. There you go. 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 Trans girl therapist. You are a therapist. Sinjongi, thank you for the $5. Would you ever have Luis Rossman to discuss right to repair? Yeah, I'd like to do that. Call me Sleeper Agent with a very kind tier 2 sub. Fred Hampton left sucks and is full of nosballs. Didn't know what to say. Here's cat pics. Oh yeah, the Fred Hampton left glows like shit. And is also a disgrace to his movement. Ooh. What a handsome picture. Wah. Shiny. What a lovely baby. Great photos, too. And a greedy boy at the $5. What are your thoughts on this, Vosh? You people suck. Work of the Onion, know who tweeted this? DM us for a prize. You can stay anonymous. It was the anti-Semite streamer known as Vosh, sir. IDF shoulder recounts harrowing heroic story of killing an 8-month-old child. Damn, dude. This is what I mean, by the way, with the bad faith, like Zionism being conflated with anti-Semitism thing right here. This tweet has nothing to do with Jewish people. It's only saying that IDF soldiers kill Palestinians. And then this person from stopantisemitism.org is essentially looking to destroy the career of the person who tweeted this. Yoicks. That's what I call a yikers moment. Oh, no, 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 no. It was your mom? Yeah. All right, people. I think we did it. I think we actually managed to have a stream where we discussed issues. How crazy is that? I feel pretty good about that, you know? Wait, excuse me? From the IDF. The IDF. The citizens of Gaza. The IDF is striking Hamas weapon stores inside civilian buildings in Gaza. Although Hamas wants to put you in harm's way, we urge you to stay away from Hamas weapon sites and get to safety. Our goal is only to strike terror. Oh. You know. Can you show a baby before you end stream? I actually already showed a baby, you fucking buffoon. Anyway, I love you all very much. You're beautiful people. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't. And I will see all of you tomorrow because I stream multiple days a week, sometimes. Oh, wait, actually, should we host somebody on Twitch? Stop. No. Stop. We'll host Dylan Burns. Evil woman, how you done me wrong. But now you're trying to well a different song. Twitch, go. You're a squadron of fighter planes taking off. Alright. Love you all very much. Take care, you beautiful people. What is playing right now? Oh. How long has that been playing? Jesus Christ. I fucking hate the front page for Twitch so much. Holy shit. For a good 20 seconds? Ah, well. Alright. Go. Get. Goodbye. Go. Go.